Okay, we are live. Let me just go live on. We go live on IG. Give me 1 second. There we go. All right, what's up, everybody? All right, welcome to another session of the Golf God Podcast Wednesday Hot Topic Show, live out of San Francisco on this beautiful Wednesday night. As you guys can see, we have another full panel tonight with some ladies and fellas here tonight, and we have another great hot topic, Wednesday topic to discuss for you guys. As always, if you guys are tuning into the live show, thank you so much. You guys already know what to do. The best way to support the channel is to smash that like and subscribe button real quick if you see value in the conversation. So just to let you guys know, if you're tuning in for the first time, this is a public virtual show on YouTube. So if you're watching this from other platforms and you definitely want to join in, I know a lot of you guys reach out to me on Instagram, always asking me, how do I join the show? I'm not from California. I'm not from San Francisco. The best way to join the show is on Wednesdays where it's virtual. So the link is in the description below on YouTube. So if you're watching this from X, if you're watching this from Facebook, Twitch, and Instagram, definitely come over to YouTube and the link is in the description. Click on that link and you'll be able to jump on. But I do appreciate you guys always tuning in. I see you, Vin FTW, already on the live chat. Thank you so much, Vin. And shout out to Jerk, $10 super chat, support the channel. Thank you, Jerk. All right. The best jerk in the world. All right. Thank you so much, Jerk, for always supporting the channel. And of course, for your time, for being part of the panel. But if you have any specific questions, I know a lot of you guys reach out to me on the comments. You guys always ask me specific topics and questions that you guys want us to talk about and respond to. If you have a specific question or topic, drop it through a super chat and we'll be able to respond to any question or topics you guys may have. And of course, if you have a specific question to one of the panelists, drop it through a super chat and we'll be able to respond to you guys as well. All right. And of course, if you just want to donate to the channel, definitely drop a super chat. I'll be able to put it on the screen and give you a shout out as well. And of course, I'm always going to encourage a lot of the men out there to always come on screen and cam up and be part of the conversation. I know a lot of you guys always like to talk on the live chat, but I always want to advise a lot of men out there, especially the generational men that don't like to approach women anymore and don't like having difficult conversations. I do encourage you to come on and be part of the conversation and cam up. So I do want to send that invite for all the fellas out there always in the live chat. But I do appreciate you guys for always tuning in for my live shows. But don't forget to give a quick shout out to my sponsor, Financial Impact Financial. They're financial services companies. So if you're looking for some services when it comes to life insurance, setting up a college fund for your kids, financial independence, learning about how to become your own family bank and learning how to become an entrepreneur. So if you have a specific financial service that you may need for yourself, definitely reach out to Savannah and her team, Financial Global Impact, and they'll be able to help you guys out. Reach out to Savannah. All her information is in the link in the description below on YouTube, and you guys can reach out to her and have access to her. But thank you so much. But that's pretty much all my YouTube stuff. Thank you so much. We have a great show tonight. We have a great panel tonight, and we will have some guests as well. They'll be joining in pretty soon, and we have another great topic for us, for you guys to watch us discuss. But shout out to the panel one more time. All right, thank you so much, ladies, fellas. Always appreciate you guys making jumping up for tonight and be part of the panel. But we'll go right into it. If you guys don't mind, give yourself a quick introduction, who you are, what do you do. And I'll start with the ladies first time here on the pod. Thank you so much. I'll start with you, Jasmine. Give yourself a quick intro for everyone out there before we go right into it. Go ahead, Jasmine.
I'm Jasmine. Right now, I don't post anything online about relationships. I mean, I might post like my opinion here and there, but I don't have that type of page. I am currently living in Denver, Colorado. And then you said what I do?
Yeah.
I work as a residential counselor right now while I'm in school for paralegal studies.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Jasmine. I do appreciate you for jumping on. I'll pass it to you, Allie. Definitely, I'm very excited to have you on after the things I saw you on X. But Allie, go ahead and give yourself a quick intro for everyone out there. Oh, I think you're on mute, Allie, I think. Oh, I think, is that me?
Yeah,
say it one more time.
Still.
Yes.
There you go.
There you go.
There we go. Okay, sweet. Super weird. Hey, I'm Allie. I tweet a lot. I also write a lot. I'm a freelance writer. I live in Ohio. And I primarily tweet about relationships. I think everybody's going to be okay and we don't have to hate each other. It's my main shtick, but apparently controversial, as I've learned over the past couple of months. But excited to be here.
All right, no worries, Ali. Thank you so much. Appreciate you. Pass it to you, Royalty. Thank you for jumping on the pod virtually. Good to have you back. Good to see you again, Royalty. But go ahead, Royalty. Go ahead and give yourself a quick intro.
So my name is Debroya, or Royalty. I'm in school to be a doctor. I don't talk much about relationships. I have a pretty open view of them. I know where I'm going wrong. I know where they're going wrong. So I'm pretty open to this discussion and excited to see where it goes.
All right. Thank you so much, Royalty. I'll pass it to you, Yadi. Always good to have you back, Yadi, on the pod. Go ahead and give yourself a quick intro.
Hey everybody, I am Yadi. I have many kids. I am in a relationship. I am from Houston, Texas. I work basically as a spiritual healer. So I have a wide variety of views on many things.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Yadi. I appreciate you for coming back on the pod. I'll pass it to the fellas. I'll start with you, Drake. Go ahead and give yourself a quick intro.
Hey, what's going on? Dre from Harrison Family Values, the YouTube channel. We have a podcast over there. By day, I am an educational administrator. And at night, I'm a marriage and family counselor. My channel is about faith, family, fatherhood, manhood, and marriage. And I'm with you, Allie. We don't need to hate each other. I'm with you.
Facts. Thank you so much, Harrison Family Values. Thank you for jumping on. And of course, go ahead, Jerk, and give yourself a quick intro.
All right. I'm the sophisticated jerk. I just recently got out of jail for starting a Ponzi scheme. So, I'm in a weird capacity trying to get myself together. I'm on my quest for self-love right now. So, thank you guys. No, I'm joking. I'm a procurement executive. I live in the DMV area. So thanks for having us, Will. Great conversation.
Jasmine was like,
yeah, she was like, did I jump on the right line?
All right. Thank you so much, Jerk. Appreciate it. Thank you so much for the super chat as well. I see it is what it is, TV. Hey, good to see you in the live chat. It is what it is. But let's get that live chat popping. If you guys are watching this right now, of course, we recognize the guests. Definitely show them some love. And I see you, Marcus Antonio Castillo. Good to see you guys in the live chat. And let's definitely get those ninja watchers out there. I know there's a lot of ninja watchers and people watch the channel, always creeping on my channel, never saying anything. Let's come out to the closet tonight. I always want to challenge the people who watch but never say anything. You guys already know I have an open mind. I like to hear from different perspectives. So say something on the live chat for tonight. But as always, thank you so much. We have a great show planned for you guys. Thank you so much for the great intros. And don't forget, if you're tuning in for the first time, this is a public live stream. So if you do want to jump on, the link is in the description on YouTube. Click on that link and you'll be able to jump on and be part of the conversation. So the topic we're going to be discussing tonight: do men and women accept each other's needs and preferences in a relationship? This is a topic I do see that there's a lot of conversation and buzz online talking about this topic. And there was a video I'm going to play real soon about this woman was talking about the preferences when it comes to relationships. So a quick question I want to ask the panel real quick. Before I play the video, we can react to it and I'll pass it back to the panel. What do you guys get to share your opening thoughts? Do we all agree on the panel that men and women have needs and preferences, right? When it comes to relationships. Is that fair?
Yep.
Okay.
It's a fair statement.
That's fair? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And do we all agree on the panel tonight that the needs and preferences of women is different? They're not the same.
Agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Not only is it different, it's probably quite a bit more. Just throwing that out there real quick.
All right. So this topic was actually my reaction to something that Harrison Family Values. I know we did a pod together previously, and I know you said on the previous podcast, because we were talking about needs, and I know you mentioned, based on your observation online, there's always a lot of conversation and content about the women's needs in a relationship, but there's not a lot of focus in society when it comes to men's needs in society. So I'm not saying there are no conversation about it, but based on what we see, and especially the type of conversation that we see that goes viral and it's popular, it's mostly based on the women, but there's not a lot of conversation on the men. So, and of course, one more question to the panel. If you want a long-term, committed, healthy, faithful relationship to work, both men and women have to have their needs and preferences reciprocated. Can we all
Yes.
agree on that?
Mm-hmm. No
Okay.
argument there.
Okay.
Body's
Somebody already disagreeing already?
Yeah, I disagree a little bit.
Oh, okay. So Jericho said, okay, well, maybe. Okay. All right. No worries. Okay. I just wanted to see where you guys' minds at, but let me just play this clip real quick. I saw this clip went viral, and then we're gonna react to it, and I'll pass it to you guys, and we'll all have a chance on the panel to say what we need to say and our perspective on the topic, and then we can open up for open discussion, and we can respond to each other. Okay. So this is the clip I saw. Maybe some of you guys have seen this clip. It was on TikTok. We had thousands of comments. There was a lot of conversation between men and women on the comments about this clip. It was interesting to see. But this is the clip I saw. It was this woman. She was talking about men's preferences being shamed. But let me just play the clip real quick.
So let's get into it. Y'all, I'm seeing a lot on the media, how people are tearing down others because of their perceived preferences. And listen, y'all, I take issue with that. Because in these videos, people are tearing down a whole group of people they have absolutely never met. And if we keeping it really real, it's because they preference ain't you. If we really truly didn't care what somebody else's preference was, we wouldn't then create thousands of pieces of content about why do some men choose this or why do some women choose that, and then further create messages to soothe their ego wound and the ego wounds of those who are watching. Y'all, let's just practice acceptance. Accept people like who they like. Everyone is entitled to their preferences. Unless their preferences are harmful or illegal, it has never been an effective strategy to shame or to guilt people into doing what you want them to do. Stop tearing down a whole group of people in order to make yourselves feel better.
All right, so that was the clip I saw online, and it was interesting in the comments. There was a whole open discourse and a lot of the hateful conversation that I saw in the comments. But I do the first thing I want to just say up front, if everybody out there is watching this right now, I don't have a problem with anybody's preferences. If you have a preference of what you want and what that looks for you when it comes to a partner and relationship, I don't have a problem with what women look for when it comes to their needs and preferences. I don't have a problem with what men needs and preferences are. So whatever you believe that you deserve, whatever you believe that you think you want to go and get when it comes to a relationship, I don't have a problem with your preferences, right? But I think what I see online, and this is why we having a conversation tonight, is basically what she's saying is there's a lot of shaming online when it comes to our needs and preferences. So if a woman says, I want this certain type of man, a lot of men are saying, especially a lot of men are telling these women, your needs or preferences, they start to shame the women for their needs and preferences, and vice versa. If men are saying, you know what, I want this certain type of woman to be my wife, they're getting shamed and they're about their needs and preferences. So this is something I do see online. I think that's why oftentimes it's very hard to have honest conversations, especially when it comes to men and women, because a lot of people fear even talking about their own needs and preferences when it comes to relationships because of the backlash that they might get online or from society. So, but I do believe, as we all agreed on the panel, if we are going to attract and maintain and sustain a long-term healthy relationship, we have to be able to communicate our needs and preferences and be able to have a conversation and also be confident in ourselves to get what we want. So I don't think the shaming conversation is not healthy, especially when it comes to attracting a long-term healthy relationship. But I think it's an important conversation to have. So I'm excited to hear what you guys think tonight. But basically on that clip, she was saying that, in today's modern society in America, because we all live in America, men and women are not accepting each other's needs and preferences, and that's what's causing a lot of people not only to repel the good, healthy relationships out there, but not be able to attract the good, healthy relationships out there because they're not willing to listen to the preferences and needs of other people, the opposite sex, and be able to reciprocate it back as well. Because if you're going to reciprocate what somebody's needs are and what they want, then you have to be able to listen and understand it, right? So that's what I saw online, and that's That's what I was. That's what I saw in the comment section from that clip. So I'm interested to hear what you guys have to say. I know we have some married people on this panel. I know we have some single people on this panel. So it'd be very interesting to hear what the perspective when it comes to this topic. When we have this discussion tonight. But real quick, Crash Out Jack, Broke, Dusty, and Wentz. Beef always said, have a good show. Just here to Cyberstock Alley. Oh, okay. All right. You got some fans, Alley. Already. But response, Alley, you want to respond to that?
I don't know. I've never been cyberstalked before, so I guess this is new. It doesn't really need to keep going, but have a good one.
No worries. All right. Thank you so much, Allie. And thank you so much for Broke, Dusty, Wins, Beef, always. But yeah, I'll pass it back to you guys. What do you guys think? You know, what's your reaction to the video? But also, what do you guys think? Today in modern society, let's make it clear for, especially because we all live in America. So today in America, in modern society, do men and women in general, do we accept each other's needs and preferences of what we want in a long-term healthy relationship? I'll start with you, Jasmine. Go ahead.
Do we accept each other's needs and preferences? I don't think so. I think these days a lot of people get judged for what their needs and preferences are. Really, I'll say mostly when it's a preference, you know, whether it has to do with like color. Ooh, what just happened?
I can still hear you.
Yeah, and
You're good.
I can't see you guys.
Oh no.
Okay. Just log back out and come back in. I'll come back to you, Jasmine. Just log back out and come back in.
Okay.
All right. All right. I'll pass it. Thank you. I'll pass it to you, Allie. Allie, go ahead, and then I'll come back to Jasmine. But Allie, what do you think? Do men and women in America do we accept each other's needs and preferences in a relationship?
I think that men and women in America don't know the difference between a need and a preference most of the time. I think we can't tell the difference between a standard and a preference, especially. We tend to think that being pickier is having higher standards when it's really not. They're not necessarily higher standards, they're just more specific. And I think even in this conversation, we're saying needs and preferences kind of like they're interchangeable. When, for example, I think sometimes people will treat a need as a preference. I see this all the time. I'm a Christian, and I'll see other Christians going, it's kind of a preference that I date another Christian, when really that's going to be a huge center of stability for you. That's a need. Meanwhile, I see women having pretty arbitrary height cutoffs sometimes, where it's like, is he really going to love you any less well because he's 5'11" instead of 6 foot? That's more of a preference. And I kind of wish that we would draw a sharper line between what is an actual standard, what's a need, and what do you have to really have as deal breakers, and what is a preference. It's a nice to have. And your partner probably won't always meet every single one of your preferences, but if they meet every one of your needs and a lot of your preferences, that's probably batting 1,000.
All right. Thank you so much. Excellent point, Allie. We definitely talked about that in our previous pod. There's a difference between standards and preferences, because for me, a standard is non-negotiable. That's your morals, that's your values, right? That's a standard. It's non-negotiable, but then your preferences can change, right? You know, when it comes to physical characteristics, that can change depending on the person. But you actually made a great point. Thank you for pointing that out. All right. Thank you so much, Allie. I'll pass it back to you, Jasmine. You can see us now, Jasmine? Oh, your audio is not working. You're on mute. You're on mute.
Okay. Now we're good.
Go ahead.
I was saying, so I don't think that a lot of people do accept each other's, or I don't think a lot of men and women accept each other's preferences these days, only because I see so much online, at least. Well, even in person, you know, if say you might see someone walk up to someone and, you know, they let them know, oh, you're not my type. People will try to press on it, like, you know, like press you for wanting something different. And so I feel like, no, they're not accepting of it, you know, because to me, if someone says like, you know, you're not my type, walk away. Like, you don't need to press them or try to get them to change their mind, you know, on what you think they should, what you think their preference should be. So yeah, my answer to that is no.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Jasmine. Appreciate it. I'll pass it to you, Royalty. Royalty, what do you think? Do you think men and women in general, do we accept each other's needs and preferences? Go ahead, Royalty.
I feel like we accept them when we fit them, and when we don't, then we don't. Like, if your preference is like a description of me, oh hell yeah, But then now when the terms start changing or when things are sounding kind of off, it's like, why do you want that? Like, what makes you want that instead of this? Just because it doesn't fit the type of person you are. And I don't know, we kind of like to be described. I feel like men or women, we want to be the one that they're describing. So that's when the we're not a fan of the preferences comes out.
All right. Yeah, that's definitely a great point. I definitely do see that a lot online. Thank you so much for sharing that to our royalty. I'll pass it to Yadi. Yadi, what do you think? Go ahead, Yadi.
I think as individuals, we're not very honest with ourselves on our preferences and our needs, especially whenever we're dating. We may be like, oh, well, I think this is a need, but I really like this person on this aspect. So let me try to work it out or look past this. And so whenever we're not clear with ourselves, how can we expect somebody else to accept the needs and preferences to come through later, that are going to be causing an issue because they tried to, or we try to accommodate to fit who we would want to be with, even if they're not checking off all the boxes. So I just don't see how people can accept the preferences when we aren't very clear with them ourselves.
Okay, fair enough. Thank you so much, Yadi. Definitely appreciate your perspective. And I'll pass it to the fellas. Jerks, I want to pass it to Jerk to start it off. Jerk, what do you think, Jerk? Do men and women accept each other's needs and preferences in a relationship? Go ahead, Jerk.
Yeah, I gotta give you two answers. So there's a group of people that I think do relationships right. They're intentional. I think they align the values and stuff, kind of like what Ali was saying, and I think you hit on it too, Will, where they're doing this stuff the right way. So they definitely I say will accept people's needs and preferences. Then the other batch of people, I think they accept people's needs and preferences for a short term, but I think a lot of times people are getting with people out of lust and infatuation. So they'll accept for, until like the lust and stuff wears off. So I think that tends to happen a lot. But people are accepting it, but in that case, but for the wrong reasons. And like Ali said, it's just based on like superficial, materialistic stuff. So that's why I said it's pretty short term in that case.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Jerk. And I'll pass it to you, Harrison, Family Values.
Yeah, I think Ali was on point in her response. I think people don't really know the difference between a preference and a value. And in today's modern day, people develop preferences in two ways: their own experiences or watching somebody else's experience. So they are getting, like, for instance, for a young lady who has been on a first date with zero sources of reference, she might think that first date to, Olive Garden was the greatest date in the world, right? At that point, that's her preference. All right. But then when somebody else takes her to somewhere nicer, her preference might change. And the thing is, preferences tend to change based on how we experience the world. We prefer something different. It's very fluid. Or we'll be on social media, which killed relationships, and look at somebody else's experience and say, you know what, I want that. I want a man that looks like that. I want a woman that looks like that. I want a woman that treats me this way. I want a woman that looks this way. I want a man that looks like all that stuff. And now that's our new preference. That's our new quote unquote standard. And this whole thing of standards is really, it's so crazy because you are trying to stand firmly on something that you can really swim through, right? You can't really swim through your preferences. I mean, stand on your preferences. It's very difficult because what will happen is you meet somebody and you take a firm stance on this person because you think that this person meets your preferences, then you really get to know them and you're like, this one doesn't check this box. And then when somebody else comes by that check that box, because you weren't firm on your values, you were just firm on your preferences, you're going to go for the next one, all right? Which makes you not a solid person because our preferences are fluid. It changes based on our experiences. But when we focus on value, then we get to a place where we're a little bit more, firm. We can have standards based on our values. And I don't know if people know the difference between that, which is why many people with quote unquote high standards, men and women alike, are still single and miserable on the internet.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Harrison. Stan Joseph just dropped the super chat. Thank you so much, Stan. Are we not taught challenges and compromise in dating? Dating coaches pushes us out of having a type. Anybody want to respond to that? What Stan just said?
I really don't know what dating coaches, their philosophies, but I mean, it holds some truth because, everybody is pitching some different, I'll say, philosophy, or, they're hitting everybody with the buzzwords where everything is just kind of surface level that I hear people talking about. I like what Harrison was saying. And, Allie, most people ain't getting underneath the surface, because I tell people all the time, I'm like, man, if you actually want somebody good, you got to, map out what good is, what's the actual good qualities that you're looking for. But it tends to be like the height measurement, guys is pretty superficial too, where it's like, oh, she's got to look like this. But third and fourth, hey, I'll look at the good quality. So yeah, I think there is some truth to what he's saying, because it's just a lot of superficial stuff out here floating around. And I think a lot of like dating coaches are just playing around with the newest buzzwords and stuff like that instead of giving people the truth.
Yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't trust over 90% of the dating coaches out there online. It's I think most dating coaches I see online don't have the body of work or the relationship they talk about for their own life. They talk about all the relationships, but they're single as well. So I just kind of find that kind of weird that you're giving advice about outcomes that you don't really have that outcome for yourself.
Well, it's a money game. You tell miserable people what they want to hear. They're going to keep paying you to hear it, even though you're not living the life that you're telling them to live. It's a money game.
That's true. Making money. But I think Harrison and then Allie, I think you guys made a great point about the difference between standards and preferences. I think a lot of, based on what I saw online and based on a lot of the podcasts I've done, I don't think most people, especially when I have conversations with women, don't know the difference. I can't count how many times I've had a conversation with women where I would ask them a question. If you met a man that had all the standards, right? Good values, morals, character, have all the things that you can build a great, healthy foundation of a relationship. But he doesn't have the preferences, the physical preferences that you're looking for. Would you walk away from that guy? I would say 99% of women I've talked to on my pod said yes. Yeah, I would walk away from that guy who has the morals and values, but he's not 6 foot, or he's not in shape, or whatever their physical characteristics are. So I think the internet has done a great job to confuse people about that. They think that preferences are standards, but there's a difference. Royalty, did you raise your hand, Royalty?
Yes, I did.
You're the 6 foot. You're the one that wants the 6 foot guy.
I'm the one that has physical attributes that I would like my partner to have, and I feel like that question that you asked is more or less, if you found a woman that had everything that you're asking for, but physically you weren't attracted to her, would you stay? I hope the answer would be no, because if you don't have that physical attraction for her, I feel like attraction in all, emotionally, intellectually, physically, you need all of those to have a successful relationship. So it really wouldn't work. Like, you have everything I'm asking for, but I'm not falling in love with you every time I look at you, or the signs of love that you want to be in. You look at that person and this is the one, kind of thing.
Okay. Does anybody want to respond to Rosie?
I kind of disagree. I don't know. And it could be maybe I'm only 24, so I feel like a lot of people might say I don't have like a lot of experience in dating. But I do personally believe that if you have in your mind of what you want someone to look like physically so that you can fall in love with them, like, you're not actually looking for love. Because what should I say? Like, I've had conversations with someone who naturally, like, walking down the street, I wouldn't have looked twice at them. But after talking with them, they might say something funny, smart. I start to become like, what should I say? Like, physically attracted to them. Like, oh wow, this guy's like smart. I feel like, I kind of like him. So yeah, that's my opinion. No.
Yeah.
I love
agree with. Go ahead, Royalty.
My bad. I was gonna say, I love that you say that, and I've been in experiences like that. But I'm not like, oh, you have to look like this so that I'll date you. It's more or less, I have to be attracted to you. Like, you can say the most intellectual things that, oh my God, I love this, but I'm not attracted to, like, I don't know if you've ever had somebody that's like, I'm not attracted to you in that way. I love our conversations. I love the vibes. I love going out, but I don't like you that way, kind of thing. I feel like it's more or less like that. Not like you have to look like this. You have to have a full stash, like not anything like that. But I would love to, when I look at you, I'm attracted to what I see instead of, I would love for us to have a conversation before I even can get intimate with you because I'm not attracted to the sight of you, type of thing.
That's fair.
Okay. I have a
I
response.
do.
I have a response for royalty, but I'll let you guys go. You Harrison.
Well, yeah, Jerk was the one to say, and I'll go after him.
Oh yeah, I was just gonna say I do kind of agree with royalty a little bit. I do think there's got to be some physical attraction. That's somebody's out here looking like Shrek. You're not gonna want to be with that. But I think there's a range where people sometimes that I think they go overboard on that, where it's like they damn near want the supermodel, whether it's a guy or a female and stuff. But it's like if you're fall within that attractive range, that's where I think most people kind of fall within that spectrum. So if you're in that, then yeah, you can't go too far below. You do gotta like wake up and look at this person and stuff like that. So can't go too low. So I agree with her.
Yeah, I think it's definitely for me situational. Because people ideally want to be able to look at the person and say, wow, I like what they look like. But a lot of that has to do with us, not necessarily them, right? That's our own, I don't want to say selfishness. It's just, it makes us feel secure. But this whole physical attraction thing could be very deceiving. You have a man who is 6'6", and ladies, let me know if I'm wrong, but most women would stand next to a guy if she's like 5'7" and under, next to a 6'6" dude, and feel secure, feel safe because of his presence. But he could cheat on you just like that, and there goes your security. So it could be very deceiving. But on the flip side to that, when I was dating, there are a couple of types of people that did certain things that I would never consider. Somebody that was a police officer, if she was a cop, if she was a correction officer, if she worked ambulance, right? If she had any kind of job that dealt with a partner, because you'd be surprised. Time and proximity will make anybody look attractive. All right, you spend enough time with somebody, it doesn't matter what you look like. You could have thought they were the butt ugliest person in the world. But when you start feeling their character, anybody starts to get attractive. So I think, physical appearance is I don't want to say, because it's not a priority, but it's important, right? But given the opportunity, you can really get to know somebody's character, fall in love with the person's character, and that person will become attractive if given an opportunity.
Okay. All right. Go ahead, Allie. Yep.
I definitely agree with that. And I think that part of the problem is that, royalty has a totally good point. Like, we shouldn't try and force things with people that we have zero attraction to. And honestly, if you try and force it, sometimes it just doesn't happen. I think the problem is that we kind of vaguely know what we might be attracted to, but it's really, really hard to make dating apps, which is the primary way people are meeting, filter that properly. And so we go, okay, I like when he's taller, but I don't know how much taller. Okay, let's just put it at 6 foot. And you automatically filter out all of these guys that if you had an hour conversation, you might have a huge spark with, you might be super attracted to. God forbid he's 5'10" or something. I think some of the shortest dudes I've dated, I'm 5'7", 5'8", I'm pretty tall. I've dated several guys shorter than me, and every single time it was like somebody I met through church, somebody I met through class, and we just completely hit it off. And it doesn't matter at all, but it does matter when that's the main thing that you know about them. You have no way of assessing chemistry because they're a photo, and you are trying to guess what you might be attracted to. You can't hear their voice. You don't know what they smell like. Some people smell way worse in person. Some people smell way better. But I think it's fine to say that we want to be attracted to someone. It's really hard to figure out how to translate that into the information that we're given from dating apps, which is kind of all the wrong stuff. I know women always say men don't know how much we weigh. Men will be on X and be like, oh, if a woman's over 100 pounds, she's a land whale. And you're like, you don't know what 100 pounds looks like. But I think we do kind of the same thing with with height or with men's photos. Men are, most of them, really bad at taking photos. So a lot of the times the way that they're represented in apps is not how we would feel about them if we met them organically. I am head over heels in love with my boyfriend, and it knew relatively quickly, but not from like a aesthetic standpoint. Like, I'm pretty sure if we saw each other on a dating app, we'd probably both not match, just because it doesn't seem stats wise like we would. He lives in Ohio. And now I live in Ohio, I guess. I mean, look what happened. But that was something that I thought would have been a lot more important to me that wasn't, just from falling for each other. So I don't know. I think that these things are a lot easier to overcome in person, but when we kind of have this friction point digitally between us, it makes it a lot harder.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Allie. Yadi, you want to add on to what everybody said, or to respond to what somebody said?
Not right now. Thank you.
All right. Not right now. Thank you so much. No, my response to you, Royalty, I'm not going to deny that sexual attraction is important. It is an important component when it comes to relationships. I'm not going to deny that, but I don't think it's the only component. That's my issue when I see online is a lot of times when people talk about their preferences, it's like the only criteria they have to judge somebody, especially when you're attracting a long-term committed relationship. So I do agree you need to find somebody that is attractive, somebody that you find attractive, sexually attractive. I think that is important for both men and women. But I think for me, because we're talking about long-term committed relationships, and I truly believe for myself, the only reason why two people would stay in a long-term committed relationship and be faithful to one another and serve one another and reciprocate one another and commit to one another, it's not because of the physical attraction. I think it's more with the values that you have and the effort you put in. And I think for me, even though I'm a guy and I do understand the importance of physical attraction, but the way I see it is, physical attraction can only take you so far. What's going to take the relationship to the next level? What's going to take the relationship long term, especially when you involve children, especially when you start building a family? It's gonna be those standards and those values that you have. Harrison, you want to say something?
Is Yadi's birthday?
Yadi's
No, it'll be June 10th. It's June 10th.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
Dang, I was like, dang.
Read in the chat. Sorry.
Yeah. I was like, somebody saved your birthday from a long time ago when you shared it. But shout out to you. But yeah, I mean, I think that's my problem with the issue, what I see online when it comes to the sexual attraction point. When people talk about it, it's the only thing you talk about. And like when you hear people talk about what they want in a long-term relationship, there's no conversation when it comes to values. There's no conversation when it comes to standards and morals. There's no conversation when it comes to the needs, especially the differences, what we look for, the vision, the plan, there's no conversation how many kids you want to have, the family dynamic, all these things that's important when building a family, because that's the ultimate goal is a family, right? There's no conversation when it comes to the family unit. The only conversation I see online is your individualistic, and sometimes for a lot of people I see very selfish, singular needs that has nothing to do when it comes to two people coming together and building a family. So like sexual attraction is important, but I would say the value is a little bit more important. I think for me, if I meet somebody that's she doesn't need to be very sexually attractive, but as long as attractive enough. But if she can bring value to my life, she can bring peace to my life. If she's somebody that represents me in a good way, she respects me as a man, somebody I can trust as a good representation to be a mother for my children. That's for me, that's makes her way more attractive than just the physical characteristics. And I think Allie, you brought it up, Harrison, you brought it up. You can meet somebody that may not be your type, but after a long conversation with them and you find out really who they are and the way their character and the way they treat you and the way they move in life, that can make them more attractive. But if you just base it based on physical looks, you're gonna alienate a lot of good potential partners in a dating market. And that's why we see a lot of people extremely single and always complaining. And I see this online. We're all the good men. We're all the good women. Well, they didn't meet your criteria sexually and physically, so that's why they're there, but they're invisible to you because you put a limit on on yourself because you only want a specific type of individual based on their physical characteristic. Go ahead.
Yeah, but and it's always going to be somebody, quote unquote, better looking with more of what you want physically.
Yeah.
So leading with that is very dangerous for a relationship because my preferences could be natural hair, thinner waist, thinner waist to hip ratio, pretty smile, and I can get that, right? But then I might see somebody with a more better shape, right? And when you're leading with physical, it's always going to lead to something better because there's always somebody that will meet that need. But in regards to the conversation piece that you mentioned, right? I think people got to be cautious when you're having conversations about your preferences. And this is a hot take. You guys may not agree. I don't think that you guys should be talking about your preferences when you're dating and getting to know somebody at all, because people are chameleons. And if they really want something from you, they may ask this question. So what do you like in a guy? Right. And ladies, let me know if you heard this before. And this is one of those times where guys be like, yo, Dre, chill with, giving out the trade secrets. Guys will say, so what do you like in a man? Right. And he's, mentally taking notes and say, you know what? Now I know what I need to be in order to get what I want from this young lady. Okay. So, and vice versa, ladies can do that too. It's very important this is just in my opinion. All right. I don't say important, but in my opinion, refrain from the whole, what's your preference conversation, what type of guy or girl you like while dating. Because ultimately you'll be able to get that helps remove the mask, right? You'll be able to get to know who the person is without telling them what kind of person you like, because then you don't know if this is really the person you like because they're faking it. Example, there's a book that I read. I think it's called what's the book? I forgot the name of the book. But in the book, they talked about how they gave an example of a couple dating, right, when they were young. And they had that kind of conversation about preferences, and this young lady became everything that this man wanted. Okay? She started going to the gym because he liked the gym. The type of movies he liked, she was going to, all that stuff. They got married, and about 2 years into marriage, she stopped going to the gym, right? And then it became a source of contention. Hey, we don't go to the gym together. Well, the gym was more your thing, and I did it because of you, and I really don't feel like going to the gym no more. Okay, well, okay. Hey, this movie's coming out. I want to go watch it. Let's go. No, that's more your thing, and I wasn't really into it. I was into it because you're into it now, but I don't really want to go. So all those things could be very deceiving in the beginning of the relationship. But that's because people talk about, hey, what do you like in a guy? What do you like in a girl? I think it's very important for us to present our real, genuine self and not ask that question while dating, because it will allow for the person not to take notes and become what you want them to be in order for them to get what they want from you.
Okay.
That's actually. Oh.
Go ahead, Roti. Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I was gonna say that's actually crazy that you mentioned that, because when I was on the pod in person, that was one of my takes that I loved that I talked about, was that it takes a while to figure out who people really are, because they'll try to be everything you want them to be, and then over time is when you realize, okay, this really isn't who this person is. Mm-hmm. Like, I just got catfished, bamboozled, you know what I mean? Because they fit exactly what you wanted, but they can only keep it up for so long because it's not them. You know what I mean? So yeah, I feel like that does lie back on us, telling them what we want and what we're looking for. So now they're like, gotcha, bitch. Not like that, but you know what I mean? Like, they know exactly what we want. They know exactly how to get what they need, because guys also will try to do the bare minimum to get what they want. So now if they know the bare minimum that you want, oh, we're doing it. You know what I mean? So I will now be more mindful, letting people know what my intentions are.
Okay.
I kind of disagree a little bit.
Okay.
Oh, go ahead, Jasmine. Go ahead.
Oh, no. I'll hear your disagreement first.
Yeah. No, because I hear what you guys are saying, but I do think at a certain point, you have to, it's like, man, we got to approach things, because I think so many people waste time, and it's just like, man, you got to let people know who you are, but you just got to get better at, I'll say, spotting the red flags and the games up front. Because I just feel, none? What was that?
What if there are none? Like they've
Well,
gotten so good
I
at
don't
this
think a lot of people hold on to lies that long as we like to give them credit for. Because even looking at the working out thing, unless you jumped into a marriage or something with that individual, I don't think they're going to continue working out for like 2 to 3 years if you like was dating them and then you got married. So that would be just a little odd. I think the working out would stick. So I just think
Well,
you
no,
got
but
to
that,
lay
that
it.
was an actual case study. That wasn't like something that was made up in the book.
No. I bet it was, but I would like to know like how long they were actually like dating and got married and stuff, because I just think longevity is not going to stick. And plus there's going to be other areas where they're not going to have that consistency. So they might be able to get off on you on like one or two, maybe different things you might not be paying attention to. But, if they're in that chameleon phase and they're not being authentic, it's just like, did you go get around their family members? Did you dig enough in their past stuff? So it's just like when you start poking around, you're going to see something that just don't line up. But I just think, hey, people got to get better at going to the table and just being who they are. Hey, this is who I am. This is what I'm looking for. Let's not waste each other's time. So I do see why you got to be guarded. But I just think if you actually had the standards and stuff up front and you're like, look, I don't do certain things until, I get to know a person and stuff like that, I think that's going to weed out a lot of those people. Not saying it's 100%, but I'm going to let you know who I am. And, the other person might not do it. So, yeah, I might be at like a little bit of a deficit. But like I said, I'm going to definitely be on some investigation type stuff. So
let me ask you a question. So is that the standards or the preference or the values? Like you mentioned about, listen, I'm not going to do this. I think that's healthy, letting the boundaries be known in the beginning, but then.
Yeah. So those are definitely like standards, like you're saying. Yeah. But I just think like some of the preferences, because 9 times out of 10, if you have that attraction, you're going out with that person, they already kind of did meet your preferences to a certain degree, unless you're just, kind of not moving with intentions and stuff. So.
Gotcha.
Okay. All right. Jasmine, you want to say something?
Oh, yeah. I was just going to say, or build on what Harrison was saying. About how when the guy asks you like what do you look for in a guy, that's so funny because I was on a date like 2 days ago and he asked me that. And previously, like maybe a year ago, I was on a dating app and a guy asked me, oh, what are you looking for in a guy? And I just saying basic things like, oh, respectful, he needs, just basic things, not, I wasn't too direct. I was like, just be yourself. And he was like, oh, come on, you got to give me more than that. But I'm like, yeah, I just deleted him. I'm like, we're not gonna. Because I felt like naturally in my mind, I just felt like you're only asking me this because you possibly want to portray the things I say, for the time being, and then your real self will appear. So that's why I just tell people like, just be yourself. And then I'll leave it for me to judge on like, okay, do I like this person and how they appear to me, in natural form, or because if I tell you like, oh, you need to open the car door for me, you need to pick up the bill on every date, you're going to do that for 2-3 weeks. And then, ease back into who you really are. And yeah, I forgot what I was saying. Oh yeah. So the date 2 days ago, he also asked me that. And I was just like, like, I don't really talk about that. I just, just be yourself. So yeah, I think that when they ask you that question, it can, what's what I'm looking for? What's the word? It could just make someone portray someone that they're not,
And it can, like, when I said that, I'm saying it could possibly do that. So I'm not painting a
and then and also I heard a guy say too before a few weeks back, he said it's easy for a guy to fake a vibe. I mean, women too, but when he said it, something clicked in my mind. And I'm like, wow, that is so true. Like that probably happens a lot more than we know.
Yeah.
So I kind of see what you guys are saying now, because now I guess that was the awkwardness. I think that's the red flag. Like somebody even asking that, because I think you should just be getting on a date and having a conversation like, hey, what do you do? What's your hobbies and stuff like that. So yeah, just asking somebody, what are you looking for in a man? It's like, that's kind of insecure, because I wouldn't care. Like I'll be like, I'll just be like having a good conversation and we'll be gauging each other. And then, we'll make our assessments. So I wouldn't be just asking you like, what do you like in a guy? Yeah, that's the red flag, ladies.
Yeah, and that's a good point because then, like, what are you into is a different question than what your preference is. Because if you say, yeah, well, I'm into archery, and then 2 weeks later he says, hey, let's, I want to take you out on a date, and then he pulls up to an outdoor archery, that's him being intentional, right? That's him
Yeah.
listening. That's a good point.
I was gonna say, when you were saying like you don't like to tell them like, oh, I like my door being open, because then in a few weeks it'll stop. I don't know. I kind of like telling them that to see if this is like changes that they're willing to make to themselves to make sure that my needs are met. Because if you're not the type of person that normally opens the door and I like my door to be open, I'm gonna let you know that once it stops, that lets me know that you're no longer interested. But you showing that effort that this is something that she likes, okay, so let me do it. It shows a lot about the comfort in a guy, like how far they're willing to go. Not too far though, because it's just a door, but like how far they're willing to go to make sure that their other partner is happy. Because I'm pretty sure if they told me I would prefer this or I like when my girl does this, as long as my needs are being met, I will happily do that for you. You know what I mean? So I feel like there's a balance of how much should be shared versus how much shouldn't be shared. But I feel like we should let them know like this is like my bare minimum requirements. Like, can you meet these or not? And when they stop meeting them, then you kind of get the gist after that.
So I'm with you on that, as long as you don't say sprinkle, sprinkle afterwards.
Yeah,
Yeah. So if you say that, it's all right.
We love a sprinkle. No, just kidding.
Said I ain't going to no Cheesecake Factory. She gonna be in a car like I ain't going in there.
Don't judge the Cheesecake Factory.
I love Cheesecake Factory.
What's your favorite cheesecake? No,
Did you guys see that video of that woman that she said that it's a red flag if your man takes you to Cheesecake Factory?
I feel like it depends on the type of date. Like if this is your first date, I feel like that ain't for me personally. That ain't it. Because I could afford to go somewhere better. But if we're just chilling on a cool casual day, let's go out before doing some night activities. Sure, cheesecake's great, but like let's dress up and let's get cute to go to the Cheesecake Factory, ain't it?
Why not though?
Royalty, listen, you going to the coffee
It's
shop on
okay,
the first
Mom.
date. You better stop playing.
Let him know.
feel
Sir. Let him know.
honestly
Yeah,
Well,
I
Royalty
like
is-
Mastros. I can do Mastros on me for one by myself. You know what I mean? So I need somebody to meet me where I can meet myself. Like, you know
For
what I
a
mean?
first date
So,
though?
Get her, Allie.
Cake.
No, I don't
I'd
mean
rather
like
go
that. I
like
just mean like
paintballing or like K1 speed. Like we can get a bite to eat on the way to that. But like really like on the sit down, I would prefer not to cheat that in.
So then here's my question. This is the question I pose when we get into this, right? And if you don't, I'm like, is it okay?
Yeah.
Well-
Go ahead.
Yeah, go
Alex.
ahead.
What's the desired outcome of the first date?
The desired outcome of the first date is to get to know someone. So ideally where it's at isn't the matter of what's going on. But for me,
Absolutely.
I
I
like
like where
to
you're going, Harrison.
pamper myself and go out and look good and do all that. So if you want like a first date with me, we're gonna have to like go out. Like, you know what I mean? If you want to sit down on the phone and chit chat and get to know each other, we can do that. But if we're going out, we're going out.
So I'm not. This is not me like coming at you. This is
Nah,
like
no.
me. All right, but I think a lot of people have that same mentality, specifically women, and they want to find somebody of quality, but then complain that they can't find somebody of quality because they want this person to meet that specific standard, and that specific standard on the first date, respectfully, is keeping a lot of women single and not getting what they want.
Might be onto something.
Yeah. So, and it's not me coming at you disrespectfully. Just
No. I mean, I'm not really
Yeah.
looking for a long-term relationship. If
Yeah.
like I'm like the most random person on this podcast right now.
Yeah.
But for me, for the time being, let's vibe till whenever, since forever isn't forever type of thing. Let's go all out. Let's have a ball. You know what I mean? That's where I'm at right now.
And if I can respond to Brother Tim in the chat, right?
What's Tim say?
Tim said the first date is a part of the first impression.
So we're going all out on a bang, okay?
No, the first date is not about a first impression, because when we're trying to make a first impression, we're trying to present somebody we're really not.
But
not
if
trying to
that's
make
who
a
you're
good
really
first-
not,
No, here's the thing. We're not trying to make a good first impression. This is not like a job interview. Like, I'm not going to beef up my qualifications because I want to get this job. This is who I am. You like me or not. And I think that's the issue with dating today. We're not giving the people the opportunity to like who we are, specifically men, because, men really just want to find somebody. At least if a man is intentional and want to find somebody that they want to be with for the rest of their life, right? They're not concerned about, getting dolled up to meet this person. They want to just let me get to know who this person is, right? And I think that's where the separation comes when it comes to first date and what people really want. What do you really want? Now, you said in your situation, you're not looking for anything long term. So I'm not talking to you. If you're looking for
Having a good
a
time.
long term something of value, right? You can't come in expecting for this person to be this specific type of way for you on the first date, because you'll keep hopping from one guy to the next guy to the next guy to the next guy, hoping to find this guy that's gonna. Here's the thing. I'll end it with this. Okay, that's putting a lot of pressure on a man from the very beginning to perform for you for the rest of his life. It really is like dance monkey dance. You're
I
gonna
mean,
do this for me. You're gonna pay for this. You're gonna do this from the very beginning, and for him to sustain that for the rest of your marriage, in order for you to be happy, is going to be highly, highly what's the word I'm looking for? Unstable. No,
Unattainable.
unattainable. It's not going to happen. And then 3 years down the line, you guys hate each other.
I mean, but then that comes to I'm sorry, Yadi, go
Yeah.
ahead. Go ahead.
sorry, I want to say something because you made a point on saying like meeting them where they're at, right? And so what if this guy, that's his normal hangout. That's his normal. That's his version of the Cheesecake Factory, right? Like we don't know that. And I'm saying this from my personal experience back when I did used to date. I used to go to like, not because I wanted to. I love the Cheesecake Factory. Okay, we go there all the time. But that's where they would take me, or they would take me to like very nice events, like, but that's just because that was their normal. That was their life. Does that make sense? So it's not like I'm putting these expectations on them to show up at this level. It was just that's where they were. So it's not like something that we should blame or like look down upon if the woman desires like that level of man. I mean like, not that he's better than the Cheesecake Factory, but he's just in a different
Lifestyle.
Yeah. So I think it's more not demanding for me. Oh, he has to do this or he has to take me here. It's more like, okay, well, let's see where he takes me, right? And then you can go from there. And then another thing I did want to touch on like the whole attraction thing. We tend to forget we're primal, and most of the attraction is hormones. And so that's why you will see some people that looking at them, you're like, how are they together? But it just works, right? Because it's the basic human thing, natural hormones that just make it work. So I think the whole dating through the apps is a huge setback because you don't meet people, you don't get to converse with them and stuff like that. So if you're single and, looking to date, look for other means of getting to know people so you can meet them in person instead of just through the dating, because that is how you close yourself off with your preferences or not your needs, right? But like the things that we can change or, give with. But yeah, so that's it.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Can I
Yadi.
jump in real quick?
Let me pass it to Ali because I know Ali wanted to say
Oh, okay.
something.
Go ahead, Allie.
And then I'll come back to you, Jerk. And go ahead, Ali.
This might be a super hot take, but like, I really don't want him to spend much at all on a first date, mostly because I want the out. Like, this is a selfish thing. If we go for coffee and you try and get me to go back to your place afterwards, absolutely not. I can throw it out and walk to the metro and leave. Like that's gross. And I don't want there to be any expectation. I don't kiss on first dates. I don't necessarily kiss on second dates. Like I want you to not have any expectation. And I want the level of the date to respect that. I lived in DC. A lot of times I would just be like, let's grab coffee. Let's meet on the mall. Let's do a lap around the mall. We can walk. We don't have to be like staring at each other. It's a little bit active. So if you're that out of shape, I'm going to know real quick. And you spent like maybe $5 tops. We don't even have to grab coffee. I don't care. but that means that there is zero expectation that he has anything from me. There's this whole genre of TikToks where women will like brag about the types of dates that they're going on, like dating finance bros in New York City or whatever. And I'll be like, oh, and he took me shopping beforehand and like, look at the bag that he bought me. That's prostitution. I'm sorry. If he's expecting sex out of you and he's trying to pay top dollar, it's prostitution with extra steps. And it's really, really weird that women are bragging about that. I'm sorry, at that point, like just cash app somebody. And it's trying to act like, I think women a lot of times see the amount of money that a man spends on them as what they're worth. And ultimately that's kind of like, you're setting a price for yourself. I mean, it's, I don't think that we should see that as affirming our worth. We should have our worth from other things, just as human beings and as women in general. And I don't think that there's really anything empowering in saying that you're for sale as long as there's a Gucci emblem on the bag. And I think that happens with dates too. So I'm with everybody. Like if somebody wants to go somewhere nice, there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not going to say that like, no, please, we can only sit in the grass. But I mean, ultimately somewhere like where you can get to know somebody with zero expectation of anything happening, I personally think it's the move. Granted, I know that we're kind of dating for different reasons. But even then, I mean, if you really want to see if you actually get along with somebody, even if you're not sure that you're dating intentionally for marriage, trying to like get it in the most natural way possible. I don't know about you. I'm not always dolled up in heels or anything. I think it's awesome, like once a month or something to really go all out. But if I want somebody to actually see me and not me in a costume or me with like a mask of makeup on and a costume that like I bought specifically for whatever I'm going on, then I don't know. I want to be a little bit sweaty walking around the mall, or like I want to be in like my normal day-to-day clothes that are significantly less cute a lot of the time. I don't know. I think it can help in both directions because he doesn't expect anything of us, and we get to see him not performing, which I think to those points about people being chameleons before, you're kind of going into it like telling him that you want a chameleon out of him if we're expecting a certain level or kind of dating for the like experience dating, I guess is what I'd call it. But that was rambly. I apologize.
No. Good point.
Thank you so much, Ali. Let me just read some super chats real quick, fellas, and I'll come back with you guys. I've just been prolonging the super chats. But Ali, I don't think that's a hot take. That's common sense. I think that's common sense to what I just heard right now. So, but let me just read some super chats real quick. Shout out to you. Okay. Broke Dusty wins. $5 super chat. The problem is women don't like or believe in hierarchies. Some believe that all women, including themselves, are entitled to anything they want or see. Response? Anybody want to respond to that?
I feel like in a relationship, women should have the entitlement, especially if they're providing. It's more say like providing, like both men and women, as long as you're doing like how we went in the beginning, like what your needs and your wants. As long as, you know, the guy's up front with his wants and the woman's up front with their wants. If the woman's wants are being met, then I feel like the I want this, I should have it kind of mentality is okay to a certain extent, to the point like borderline you're trying to use him. But for the most part, if a woman is fulfilling a guy's needs, I feel like anything she needs from that guy should be fulfilled.
Okay.
And vice versa. If a guy asks for something, it should be fulfilled as well.
What if it's needed for you to do the shit yourself?
Hey, then I'm gonna do this shit myself. But you provided me the resources for me to do it myself. I hope as the man providing for.
I'm just joking. I'm just kidding.
All right, so let me just run through. Yeah, let's just run through the super chats and then just throw your responses if you want to respond to them. Another super chat by Broke Dusty wants beef always. With the advent of social media, women can see millions of alternative lifestyles and feel they should have the same as any other woman. Agree? Disagree?
I definitely agree with that one. I was literally having that conversation this morning with two friends that I fairly recently just met, but we had like a little girls' night. One of them like kind of going through it with her guy right now. He's like going through a lot with his family. The other girl, she's single and looking. She wants to be married. She's looking to be married. she's telling her like, or she's asking her, oh, how much money does he give you? And she answers, and the other girl, she didn't give her like the answer that she thought was like enough, because she's like 100 something. She's like, girl, you need him to be giving you racks. I'm like, because I'm thinking like she's giving her horrible advice. Like,
And these are friends of yours?
Okay.
She said they just met.
We met like going out. Like they're just like
I'm just
going out.
messing with you.
Not, you know.
It's all
Anyway,
good.
was I at? She's like, I'm like, listen, I'm like, she's giving her horrible advice. She's basically saying break up with him if he's not giving you like racks of money. And I'm like, this is, and I'm thinking like this.
Jasmine, I don't want to cut you off, but there's a sound that's coming from the back. It's
static.
It's some static. So I don't know who it is. So if you don't mind, just if you're not talking, just put yourself on mute because I don't know who's it coming from. But it's causing some the quality of the audio is not as good when you're talking because I can hear that static in the background. All right, but let me just read another super chat real quick and just run through these super chats real quick so we can get back to the conversation. Because women are taught that hierarchy is oppression, a belief that you deserve something just because they want it is instilled, leading to unhappiness. Anybody want to do a quick response?
Can I?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. Again, a lot of this has to do with modern thought, right? Men are not intrinsically valued. We're valued if we provide something or make you feel a certain way. Then we're valued, right? Where off the gate, women expect to be valued just because they show up, and I think that that's part of the issue, right? The whole value thing, right? And I think that's a detriment to couples because people aren't valued today. We don't want to get to know who a person really is and value who that person is. We go into relationships thinking or wanting the other person to do for us, prove themselves for us. And in a lot of cases, and we can see it based off of all the media, the talk shows out there with the ladies, and this is not me knocking you guys. It is what it is. A lot of the discussion that ladies have on TV that's influencing the masses is about how amazing women are, which I agree. But it's this idea that women don't have to do anything and show up and expect to get all the treatment that they want, where a guy has to completely earn everything in a relationship. So I think, and I'm not talking about sexual intimacy, I'm just saying anything. And I think that's one of the challenges.
Okay. Thank you so much,
push back a little
Harrison.
bit?
What's it, Damien?
Can I jump in there real quick?
Yeah, go ahead real quick before we move on. Go ahead.
Okay, yeah. But I think it's just pushing a different narrative. I don't know if they're pushing women don't have to do anything. One of the things I think they're saying women have to do is accept like things like infidelity and sharing your man and stuff like that. Those are the things I think the narrative. Like if you're an attractive woman and you were blessed with attractiveness and you get this guy because you're attractive and you've not had to really work, it was like accept the fact that it's possible that he may have that same mentality when it comes to other women. So you have to do something to be the number one spot. So there is certain things that you have to, that society is telling women that you have to do if you're leading with only I'm hot, I'm attractive. You're saying, okay, I'll accept that, but that's not tenable for a long time. They're going to say, okay, you're going to get older. You're going to get, you're not going to be in as good a shape or whatever. And then he's going to dump you for somebody else. So they have to constantly put in the work to try to maintain what they got in. That initial thing doesn't guarantee longevity in a relationship. That's just gets you the first step into getting where you want to be. So there's some things that women got to do. And on the other end, and people will tell you, I call it right down the middle, even. I'm sure I'm gonna call some men out in this conversation and some women out in this conversation. So,
all right. Thank you, Damien, and thank you for jumping on, Damien. Appreciate you. And C, good to see you. C on jumping on. Thank you for jumping on. I'll definitely come back to you and be part of the conversation. Stan Joseph, dropped the super chat. Haitian proverb: "You're not ugly, you got birthed." Oh, okay. All right. All right,
Man.
all right, Stan. Crash Out Jack. Also, I want to wish Carmen a very happy birthday.
Happy
All
birthday,
right,
Carmen.
so shout out to you, Carmen. And also, he dropped a super chat. Shout out to Sophisticated Jerk. I cyberstalk you too. Okay, Jerk.
Grizzle Jack.
All right, Stan Joseph, 2 for $25 Applebee's. I got other dates to pay for. All right, ladies, you guys appreciate
That's
Applebee
wild.
date? Quick question to ladies.
That's
You
wild.
guys appreciate the Applebee's date? Royalty said no.
I would
Allie said
appreciate
yes.
anywhere. Let me not sound like I'm this ungrateful person. I will appreciate tacos at the taco stand, okay? But like if we're really rocking it and we're really trying to make a big like a bang, like you know what I mean? I like bangs. We're not going to Applebee's. But I'll take it.
You going wherever the dude you rocking with, you feeling is
Hey,
going. You know that.
Wherever I take myself, because I don't need no man for nothing. You feel me?
Okay. Okay. Jasmine, Applebee's?
Yeah.
Okay. Yachty, Applebee's?
I would.
Okay. See, Applebee's?
There's
Okay.
nothing wrong with it. Food is food.
Okay, but fellas, I'm gonna say, can we draw the line with the whole 2 for 25 thing? No, let's if we're gonna take it out,
You got to step it up a little
Get
bit.
off the
let's not do
deals,
the
at
2 for
least.
25.
Step it up a little
All right.
bit.
Hell nah, that 2 for
And I-
25, that's critical. I might take you to Best Buy and you can help me move this TV. That might be our first date.
And I want to address that point, but I think we're moving on. I want to what's called to address
Yeah,
that
yeah.
point that people were talking about was
Okay.
like the whole like people getting dressed up and doing all this extra stuff on like first dates and stuff like that. I think the reason people are so inclined to do that is because it's the quickest and easiest way to show you're willing to go over and above. Like if I'm going to dress up to go on a date with you, or I'm going to take you to a nice place, I'm letting you know you're worth going over and above what my norm is, and that's just the easiest way to do because you don't know this person. Like right now, I'm been my wife 18 years, married 16 of them. I know that over and above is me putting the dishes away. So that's because we've known each other and we've learned each other well enough to know that. But when we were first dating, my over and above when I didn't know her was, okay, let me take a nice restaurant. I worked at the club as a host, so let me take you to the club and sit you and get you. And it was totally different when we were late 20s and stuff like that. So I think that's the first why people are so inclined to do that, not to say, hey, I'm pretending to be something I'm not. Well, don't get me wrong. Some people could be going that route, but I think a lot of people, I know, a lot of people are just saying, okay, you're worth going over and above. Some people can have that sentiment as well, because I know that's the kind of thing I was doing for my wife. I was like, I don't know you well enough to know what's, gonna really rock your world or whatever, make you feel great. So let me do something that just give you a new experience that you probably haven't experienced before.
Yeah. I saw a video maybe a month ago, and it was a lady talking about first date, and she had a Nigerian accent. She was had American, but then switched it to Nigerian when she got serious. And she was talking about how a guy has to take her out to a very expensive spot, because then she started rattling off the why. If I'm going to be getting myself a nice dress and putting all this time to put on my makeup and get my face done and get my hair done and all that stuff, right? He better come correct with that. And I'm not verbatim.
Yeah.
She didn't say it verbatim, and that was the approach. And this is where I got to talk to my brothers and say, listen, be very careful. And ladies, if I offend you, my apologies, not my intention. Men, be very careful with women who expect an extravagant first date, because she did all these things ahead of time to herself. So she did all these things for herself. And because she did all those things for herself, the dress, the hair, the shoes, the makeup, all that stuff for herself, that you got to come and give her whatever experience that she desires, because she makes you look good on the date.
Right.
So
men curate their first experience. Your first experience is something to curate because it says a lot about you. Don't let somebody else.
And Will, I know you want to get to the super chats, but I just want to get a quick point out going back to when we were talking about the dates. And I think women got to be careful with, and I like what Allie was talking about as far as like managing them expectations, like going to the coffee shop. But I think a lot of times dudes that are the players, sometimes some of those guys, they lead with the money because they know it's an easy way to break down women's like defense, where it's like, oh, I'm gonna take them to this extravagant spot. So now, like, some women would think like, oh, he's working hard for me because he's spending this type of money and stuff. And, you know, they're bragging to the friends and stuff. So be careful of them dudes that would lead with the wallet. Those are typically the ones that they'll do it for multiple women. They'll come in there and, you know, spend that money. Then everything goes down. That's when they ghosted. And then you're going to come up on this panel, talk about you were love bombed, and we're going to cuss you out. So beware of it. You know, we putting out the announcement now.
All right. Thank you so much, Jerk. Let me just finish this super chats real quick. Dusty wants beef always. Okay, I accept your proposal. Allie, I'll be your house husband. I get to pick our honeymoon dough. Okay. All right. All right. He also responded, that's enough fuckery for today. I'm head out. No worries. Stan Joseph said, if we rocking it, McDonald's. Anybody here would rock a first date on a McDonald's, ladies? McDonald's on a first date?
I think that's hilarious.
Like I said, if we're just, you know, walking through the wind, ideally not, because like we're gonna die sooner if we eat that. But if I'm hungry, I'll take a smoothie.
Take my grandkids to McDonald's.
That's a poison right there. Hell no.
The smoothies go crazy though, don't?
All right. Dusty once responded with super chat. Allie, cover your ears, but C can get it. Okay. All right. And then Stan Joseph said, Applebee's, you getting appetizers too? No hate. All right. Thank you so much. I do appreciate you guys. And I see the viewership going up. So thank you so much. A lot of you guys are watching the entire show, but the comments on the live chat doesn't reciprocate how many people are watching. So that means there's a lot of ninja watchers watching right now. So definitely comment on the live chat, show some support. I do appreciate you guys watching the show. And don't forget, this is a live panel, public show. So if you do want to jump on, the link is in the description on YouTube. Click on that link and you'll be able to jump on the panel. If you guys watch my content, I have an open mind. I like to hear from different perspectives when we have these conversations. And of course, if you want to drop a super chat, any topics or questions you guys want us to respond to, drop it through a super chat and we'll be able to respond to you guys as well. And shout out to Stan and thank you so much for Dusty for dropping a super chat to support the channel. I'll pass it to C. C, thank you so much. I know you had to jump on a little bit later, but thank you for appreciating your time. I just want to pass it to C before I move on to the next topic. I want to go through a lot of the preferences and needs I see online that's creating so much controversy. So I want to bring that to the panel. We can discuss and break down tonight, and we're going to respond to a lot of those controversial needs and preferences I do see online. But I'll start with you, C. Anything you want to add to the conversation? We're just talking about men's and women's preferences and their needs, and oftentimes we see there's a lot of shame. You know, women are shaming men about their needs and preferences and what they're looking for, and then the men are doing vice versa. Any thoughts you want to add on to it, C? You're on mute. Still, we can't hear you. Still mute. Okay, we'll come back to you, C. So try to fix it, and then I'll definitely come back to you. But before we move on, anybody want to add on real quick? Anything you wanted to say? What just been said? You got everybody good? Okay. All right. So I want to talk about this is something I do see online because we're talking about needs and preferences. We're talking about long-term committed relationships. We're talking about family. So I do want to bring up this topic because it's something that's constantly talked about online, and a lot of men are getting shamed for it. And we're going to talk about from the women's perspective as well. But there's this whole conversation online that women are they're angry. They're also complaining about why do men prefer dating younger women? All right, so real quick, I want to ask anybody on the panel: does anybody have a disagree or don't agree with that preference for the ladies? Because I'm about to play the clip real quick. There's one of these girls online. She was talking about that preference. But does anybody on this panel, especially the ladies, do you guys have a problem with men dating younger women?
No.
Can y'all hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now. Okay. But go ahead, C. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
I think a long time ago, I probably would have said no. I don't have a problem with it per se because I feel like everyone, has their preference. But at the same time, I do believe it kind of shines light on where you're headed or how in depth you are, like in your purpose. Because when you have purpose and goals that you're going after, you're going to want someone that can complement where you're going. And I think that sometimes the maturity of a person, it, I heard someone once say that a lot of the time, and it could be man or woman, being the older person, but that a lot of the times a younger woman is chosen because she can be dominated easier. And I don't think that's the case with everyone, but I do think it is the case a lot of the time. She's, hasn't experienced enough to, know what she's deserving of, knowing, uh, maybe not even knowing what her goals are, and then just kind of getting under someone who is well seasoned and she's easier taken advantage of, I feel.
Okay. All right. No worries. Thank you so much, Steve. So let me play the clip real quick. And of course, I see. Let me go back to the live chat. Gas Mask, good to see you. Marley, December vlogs, good to see you. Tim, Sharon, good to see you. I see a lot of new names here in the live chats. But yeah, see the viewership going up. We're almost about to hit 100. So I do appreciate you guys watching. Let's definitely share the stream to make sure we can get people watching and to share the show. So thank you so much. I appreciate you guys for supporting the channel. But let me play the video real quick. So this, I saw this clip. There's this woman that she was talking about responding to why do men prefer younger women and not date women their age or older? And she had a big problem with it. But so let me play the video real quick.
Significantly younger women only. When someone's 18, early 20s, a woman, and she's still figuring out herself, and then the guy's 40 plus, sometimes I wonder, I'm like, where is your headspace at? Okay, if it's just physical, that's one thing. But I also have a sensitivity to that of power dynamics, and because the younger person is still developing their fucking frontal cortex. I've talked about this online, and I get a lot of pushback, like, you're just old and bitter. I'm like, I, at the time, did not know better. I didn't know what I was giving up. If the older man is genuine in their intentions, kind and all that, that's fine. I'm not denying that there could be like a true love, a true connection there. As the older man, like, you have more life experience. You know your boundaries better. You know what you want in life. Possibly the younger person doesn't have that yet. And if you take that advantage of that or use that to your advantage, I'm not cool with that. And I do feel like a lot of men who do date super young like that, they do.
All right. So that was a clip I saw online. So we're talking about needs and preferences, but I know there's always a controversial topic online, especially for a lot of men who choose to date younger women. But also just to throw some statistics out there in general, women tend to date older, and then men tend to date younger. It is what it is. That's just the biological perspective and the data. But I do want to hear from you guys. I'll start with the ladies. What do you guys think? Do you guys have a problem with men with that preference? A lot of guys they prefer to date younger women, and there's a lot of women out there today. And I do understand we're all living here in America, so there's a big demographic of women who are, pursuing a career, delaying their life, trying to achieve things. It's going to take a little bit of a while, but they're delaying marriage to 30, and a lot of women find themselves, to 30. And a lot of the men they want to date in their age, they don't want to date them, but they want to date the younger women. So I don't have a problem with women going out there pursuing the goals and degrees and things they want to achieve for their life. But this is a good conversation to have, because there's a lot of women who are achieving those things, but they find themselves in a situation, especially when they hit the 30s and 40s, that the men in their age range don't want to date them. They want to date younger women. So a lot of women are finding that reality, and a lot of them have a problem and don't understand why men generally tend to date younger women and not women their age. So I'll start with the ladies. I'll start with you, Allie. Allie, what do you think? Do you have a problem with the men dating younger? What's your take on that?
I don't have a problem with them dating younger. I think a lot of times for men dating a younger woman is like us preferring wealthier men. I think as long as it's a preference and not a standard, if a woman comes out and says, I don't want a man who makes under X, okay, part of having like hard and fast standards is knowing that you might not get that. I think thinking that you deserve that anyways is what entitlement is. If you have standards and realize that those might not be met, that's fine. I think the same goes for a 30-year-old man who wants an 18-year-old. Maybe you'll get it. Odds are probably not. Most women want someone roughly the same age. We see this with men on the street interviews. We also see it with the way that like couples actually pair off. 60% of people are with someone within 3 years of their own age. Yes, women do date slightly older, men date slightly younger, but this idea that we're all just supposed to pair up when we're 18 with somebody who's 30 is completely ridiculous. It's also not good for the marriage rate. If you have a 20-year age gap, you have a 95% more likely chance of divorce. I mean, that's insane. And it's about 40% if the gap is about a decade. So I'm not saying that those relationships don't happen, but the idea that we should be encouraging them as somehow solving this issue of, you know, men maturing maybe a little bit later or women being prettier at a certain age is a little crazy. It also kind of assumes that the woman has nothing else to optimize for, which I think I understand why women have an issue with that. Ultimately, I think the main way to solve this is just by telling women that we don't have to wait till we're like finished people or finished with every single one of our degrees and professional goals to get married. It's okay to grow alongside one another as a couple, and you don't have to finish. You don't have to be like completely financially stable on your own or like have finished every single degree that you want in order to take dating and marriage seriously, because it takes a couple years anyway. And who's to say that you can't get your ring before you get your master's degree? Like, it's fine.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Allie. Appreciate that. I'll pass it to you, Jasmine. Jasmine, what do you think? Do you have a problem with men, they want to date younger women?
No, I don't have a problem with it. I think it's fine as long as, you know, it's legal and there's no like hidden weird agendas behind it on either side. So, yeah.
Okay. All right. All right. Just don't be a weirdo. Okay. Got you. Don't be a pedophile. Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Jasmine. Appreciate that. Pass it to you, Royalty. Royalty, do you have a problem with men dating younger women?
Overall, looking at it, no. But when you deeply psychologically look at it, yes. Because why don't women in your age bracket go for you? Like, I know sometimes it's a preference, like, oh, I prefer a girl younger. But 9 times out of 10, it's you can't get the girl your same age because mentally you're not there. So to an 18-year-old, it seems like, oh, you're mature, you got your shit together. But to a 30-year-old, as the guy's 30, it's like this nigga ain't shit. He don't got nothing. He's still trying to chip off his mom. Like, you know, mentally, I feel like that's where it gets kind of confusing at, because why do you want someone younger? Because yes, they're easier to manipulate. They're easier to push your way through and stuff like that. So it's just more of a why kind of question. But overall, looking at it, it's like, okay, you're more mature. You could provide for the younger one. She needs more stability. You guys could benefit each other. But psychologically looking at it, it's like, what's really going on?
Okay. No worries. Thank you so much. Just I know that the word manipulation and that has been thrown out on the discussion of why men tend to date younger women. I just want to ask the ladies real quick. Don't we live in a generation of independent women? Strong, independent
women has nothing to do with manipulation. Manipulation is more or less making a situation seem good to get the desired outcome. Is where I'm looking at it. Like you're stable, you're older, you're more mature. Everything sounds very secure for the younger woman, which can be a manipulation technique to get what you want out of the younger girl. So
I understand it, because we can get manipulated for both men and women. All I'm saying is the biggest pushback of why women believe that, because traditionally back in the day, women were limited when it came to their resources and their rights. But now in a society where women have all their rights, they out-earn men. They also out-graduate men in college. They're more educated than ever. They're more independent than ever. But I mean, you're still finding yourself manipulated when you have everything going for you in your life. I'm just saying.
Stability. Last comment. It's a stability thing. Like men know women want love. Women love love. It's the I want to be loved. I want to be held. The intimacy aspect. So you can get manipulated in terms of that. Like they see that's what you want, so they can provide that while getting what they want, type of thing. Like I don't think I could be manipulated like in terms of financially or like, you know, doing something stupid. But when it comes to like my feelings and the idea of feeling like somebody cares, I feel like that's an easier route to manipulate somebody.
Okay. No,
Well,
it's
you're
I'm
on to
just throwing it out
something
there.
though.
I want to ask
There's
her
no
a quick question.
manipulation.
Let me just get to the ladies and I'll come back to the
I
fellas.
don't want to forget my question.
No, I just wanted
It's
to
all
ask you.
good.
I know the fellas. I know you got strong take, but I just heard that word manipulation. It's get thrown a lot on the internet. But I'm just saying is what I see online. Women are more empowered than ever. They're more educated than ever. They make more money than ever. They're more independent than ever. You know, you have the ability to discern and make your own decision in your life. I'm just saying it doesn't make sense for me when women. What I see today with the things you have now.
Greed attracts greed. That's what happens.
You know, that's why you get manipulated. You know, so I pass it to you. See, I know you already gave your take. Let me just pass it to Yadi. Yadi, come to the fellas. Yadi, do you have a problem with men dating younger women?
No, I don't. My partner is 22 years older than me. And I can say I think it's mainly the older women that find it gross or disgusting when a man is dating a younger woman. But I'm going to say this. I'm an old lady now. Okay. I'm 41, about to be 42. Most women 30 and up are extremely bitter. Okay. They carry all this trauma. They're carrying too much that men just don't want to deal with, and they shouldn't deal with. Another thing is what people want in life, right? Like just like the women now want to focus on their careers before they start having kids, men do the same thing. So a man that's older, you know, finally when he feels stable enough, he may be 30, 40, something like that. Yes, he's going to want a younger woman so he can have all the kids and the family life that he planned, right? It's a little bit harder whenever you're my age or 30, you know, once you're in your 30s, we do start having issues. Not everybody, but majority. And that's just the realistic part of it. So psychologically, I think it's just not wanting to deal with the bitterness of majority of the older women. I don't think it's more like, why does he not have something to offer somebody, or where it's like women our age don't want him? That's not the case. Because if that was the case, then most women wouldn't be so upset about them not wanting to date in that same age range, right? So I don't have a problem with it. I can see why it happens. And I agree with Allie. I tell my daughters, don't wait until you're too old to start having your kids. Like, you can do this if you're going to be, you know, pursuing your career, you know. Don't wait to have everything in line and perfect, because you don't know what's going to happen.
All right, thank you so much, Yadi. I do agree. There's a lot of bitter people out there and women out there. But real quick, I gotta give a special shout out. We just hit triple digits on the live stream right now. All right, thank you so much. We got over 100 people watching the show. I do appreciate you guys for tuning in. And I know a majority of you guys are Ninja Watchers, because I don't see a lot of comments reflecting how many people are watching. So stop being Ninja Watchers. If you want to see, but if you do see value in the content, don't forget to like and subscribe. And don't forget, if you're watching this for the first time, this is a public show. You can jump on the panel. The link is in the description on YouTube, and you can jump on and be part of the conversation with us. But shout out to you guys watching the stream. Thank you so much. You guys are doing a great job. But if you're moderating a live chat, let's get everybody active. And get everybody excited in the live chat to keep that live chat popping. Real quick, let me just read some super chats real quick. Stan Joseph, leading with money, Groupon dinner, 5 stars. Okay.
Stan the man.
All right, you're learning, Stan. You're learning. All right. And then Dusty Beef, always $10 super chat. I could sit and listen to Ali talk about anything. She could be saying something wild, nonsensical, rambling, and I'll still have her baby. Ali, a real one. She might be older than me, but we got this. Okay. Allie, you want to respond?
Cringe. Look at the face.
We don't got this, and you can't have my baby. That's not how it works. We don't got these parts.
Okay, as always, I do appreciate you guys always participating and dropping the super chats. Thank you so much. But I'll pass it to the fellas. We got the feedback from the ladies. But like I said, fellas, this is a topic that's extremely controversial online. There's a lot of men out there also that got canceled for just saying that they wanted to date younger women. All right, so it's a very controversial, cancelable topic. But when I pass it to the fellas, why do men date younger women? What is the primary reason why we tend to date women that's younger than us and that's not in our age or older? All right, so let me start with you, Jerk. Go ahead.
Well, just circling back with the women we're answering, I don't like it. So it's not illegal and stuff like that. It's to each his own, whoever's presence, but I don't like it. If somebody, because I look at it from like, if I had a daughter that was like 18 and 19 and an old guy showed up at my house talking about, hey, or she's introduced me to her boyfriend and he's like in his 40s, he's getting thrown out of a window. So, I mean, that's just my stance on it. But from hearing men, and I think Yadi was talking about it and Ali kind of hit on it, why men might explore that. It's because, some women I say people are stuck in their ways once they get older. We're career focused and stuff. So I think a lot of people just don't kind of want to deal with the combativeness and some of the aggression. So that's why a lot of guys might date lower. But me personally, I'm like, if you missed out on the younger days, you just got to deal with it.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Dirk. I'll pass it to you, Harrison Family Values. What do you think?
I don't know. Like for me, it's I never saw, and this is personally, I never saw the appeal to deal with anyone more than 5 years younger than me. I've had, ironically, I've had women, 12, 13, 15 years younger than me make advances. And I couldn't because we had two different stages in life. So I hear the argument that, mentally is very different. But I also understand the difference in what men and women desire. Yadi, you made a good point about the age thing, right? Men usually try to make sure that they have some sort of security before establishing a family, right? So they might be looking for a family when they reach that age where they are financially secure, which could be in their 30s, and they know that the most optimal type of person to have a family with is somebody who's younger. So that makes sense. At that, and you can't. I doubt anybody can really knock that logic. It's logical, right? But on the same side, women have certain preferences as far as financially, and it's not necessarily. It may not necessarily be they have to make this certain amount, but they may desire security, and part of security is finding a man who is financially stable, and they are more likely to find a man who's financially stable in their 30s and 40s than they would in their early 20s. So it's for me. I don't know. I don't really go into this discussion too much in relationships because of that reason. Because you can find good reasons. Now, if I'll tell you what I do disagree with, that 65-year-old pastor who married the 18-year-old church member that he watched grow up. That I would have an issue with. If a man, if a man was to say, hey, I fell in love with my daughter's friend who he watched grow up, like I would have a serious issue with that. Huge issue. But it's for me though, this is one of those things that I'm silent on unless it's something like the scenarios I just gave.
Okay. No worries. Did you guys see that online? That pastor.
Crazy.
And I think he told he made an announcement. He also announced it to his congregation, right? He's like, look, this is my wife. Keep your hands off her. I was like, okay. This is
he watched her grow up.
That's some real shit right there.
Student in the school, like Sunday school student. What I don't know, man.
I don't know. I have more problem with the congregation accepting it. And that's just my piece. But I'll pass it to you, Damon. Damon, what's your take about men preferring younger women?
Yachty brought up something that was really important that always seems to be glossed over. There's always go to the 40-year-old dating the 18-year-old. It's never the 60-year-old dating this 40-year-old. And that's a younger woman. But there's no issue there or what have you. It's always they want to say, oh my God, it's some guy going to the preschool, watching her grow up. It's just like some weirdo shit. But let me give you a little bit of background on me. I'm 49 years old and my wife is 45. If we weren't together no more, that means somebody that she died, because we ain't splitting up ever unless she dies. And I got single again. I still wouldn't date nobody less than that was under the age of 40 years old, because that's just where I'm in my life, and I'm just comfortable with that kind of mentality, those conversations, those life experiences, stuff like that. But that don't mean I don't understand a guy. And I want to get back to the manipulation point that people were saying. It was like a couple of things. Number one, maybe there's 10% of guys who be like, okay, I'm gonna just be like some kind of R. Kelly Svengali guru who like tells her to do, what to wear, how to stay, and all that kind of. Maybe that's like 10%. But I think the majority is twofold. Number one, I think is what Jerk was saying and what Yachty was saying. It was like they just don't want to date. They work so hard. They've got this position. They want to enjoy peace, and they want the peace to enjoy it without any type of bitterness or stubbornness or any kind of like combativeness or what have you. And then on the other side of that, I think is guys who may be in a position that maybe they were a little nerdy, a little geeky growing up or whatever like that, didn't have access to the hot cheerleader or the good-looking girl in their school, their high school or college or what have you like that. And now they have the resources and they have the value to those women that those women are attracted to, because a lot of times it's the 22, 23-year-old ones approaching the 40-year-old guy who has money. He pulls up, he gets out of his nice car. It's the 23-year-old talking about, oh, you got a nice car and blah, 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 blah. And he says, okay, now I have enough value to have access to the women I always wanted to have access to as a kid that I never had access to. I think it's those two things that are probably the 90% of it. It was the guy who never had access, who finally had access, and the women are willing to give them access. And the guy who's been working so hard, who just don't want anything combative, and he wants that easiness of it, or what have you. And I want to ask Royalty, I'm glad you came by. Ask Royalty a quick question. You were talking about the manipulate thing, and the way you talk, I want to ask you a question. Are you over the age of 30 years old?
No.
Okay. Or are you over the age of 24 years old?
No.
Okay, so how old are you?
I'm 22.
Okay. So right now, at 2 years old, if you met a 35-year NFL player and he said, Royalty, I just like all this stuff about you, I want to rock with you, come with you, would you have your bags packed running out that door and with sparks flying off the bottom of your shoes because you'd be so interested in possibly having the access to that lifestyle? You would give it more of a chance because of his position. The age wouldn't be a consideration, and you wouldn't be sitting there thinking, this guy's going to manipulate me. I can't do this.
Well, let me just give a little backstory to me.
Okay. Here's the preamble.
Normally, when I do date people, I do date older, so I see both sides of it. Mentally, I'm still like questionable. Since I'm not looking for anything long term, yes, I would pack an overnight bag to see what's up with this NFL player. Let's see where the road takes us. But just because of his position, I wouldn't more or less take him seriously. He just has more expenses he has more resources to indulge me the way he feels, or I feel like is appropriate for the situation.
Okay.
But no,
I'm just saying, because women say that, oh, they go manipulate it, but and I could probably ask the same question to C. It was like 22-year-old C would have been all about them going with the NFL player, wouldn't you, and not having a thought about being manipulated.
I mean, I would say in that term, not a risk and reward situation, but the give and take. So in a normal relationship, it's like, okay, you're providing me with this security, and then you're using your manipulation techniques to get whatever you want in. It's not really
No, because
manipulation.
it's a
but
fair
it's
exchange. You
the
have
age.
youth, beauty,
Reciprocation.
and
It's the
youth
age
beauty,
gap that
and
makes
he has
it
resources.
manipulation. It's the age gap that makes it manipulation, not necessarily what like the outcomes. It's just the fact that you know that you have an easier time getting it from the 22-year-old than you would with the 30-year-old.
Well, let me
Period,
ask.
point
Let me say this. We talk about modern dating, right?
for sure.
Let's all be honest here and objective, right? Just because they're young, that doesn't mean that they're going to be easy.
That is
Especially
very
today.
true, but overall,
Especially today.
situationally speaking about it, because they're younger, they don't know as much, which means they're more likely to sway right when you say
Nah,
decide to
because they
stay.
don't know as much. They don't know what they don't know makes them dangerous.
But it also makes them more gullible to believe that that's the true outcome.
You don't think 40-year-old women are gullible?
Of
Some 40-year-old women
course,
are
after
getting
not
goofy
learning
and
the
getting taken
lesson.
advantage of?
They do. I don't think there's an age bracket to that. I do feel like the younger you are, the easier it is.
Have
though.
you seen 90 Day Fiance? It's like
Yeah.
40-year-old women.
That was the F that I married on TikTok. You guys saw that? That lady, she's like at least in her 30s on TikTok, where it's just like, who the F did I marry? Or she got
Yeah.
I saw that.
but she was just going for anything like that. Was also on
Like at
her.
a
I'm just
certain
saying.
age, you should kind of know. Like you should not to say that, you know what I mean? Everything happens in due time. But after going through the same problem, so because women start these problems, these older guys preying on younger women problems when they're young. You know what I mean? Like 9 times out of 10, once you turn 18, or most women before they're 18, they have these older guys that's like, ooh, you look good, ooh, this, ooh, that. So it's like after you go through that so many times, you can kind of tell. And when you can't tell, you end up like the lady on TikTok talking about who I got married to. You know what I mean? Like you just gotta learn after the situation occurs so many times.
Real quick, there's no manipulation at like age 14 and 15. We know pretty much what's right from wrong because there's enough people that don't do these acts, which shows like, we have enough logic to avoid situations. So it's typically when Allie was bringing out the stats, not too many people are really doing that. Most people are dating within the age of 3 years, which shows like, we have enough logic to, like I said, avoid these situations. So what happens is both sides, the man and the women, are playing on each other's like greed to a certain extent. So the person that loses typically in that like greed battle is the one that you would use the term manipulation. So that's how it works out. Whoever doesn't get their way, that's the person that feels they were manipulated, but they came in there with the wrong intentions and stuff like that. So yeah, we gotta stop acting like we don't have enough intelligence. It's almost insulting to everybody when we do this stuff, and we're like, "Oh, I don't know what was going on," even though I wanted the Porsche and the handbags. You're logical enough to like figure that shit out, but
There's a show going right now called Clipped, and it's about the Donald Sterling, the young lady V.
The Clippers, right?
Yeah, from Satino situation. And if you watch it, it's like, who is the one manipulating who? She's 27 years old, young, attractive woman. He's like almost 70, older. So it's like it goes back and forth. Like, who's manipulating? She's getting he buying her a house, a Ferrari, all this kind of stuff like that. But he's also like kind of like using her for her youth and beauty and stuff like that. Is anybody getting manipulated, or is that just a fair exchange? She's putting value on her beauty, and her value to him is his money. His value to her is her beauty. It's like, if you're willing to freely give that, isn't that an equal exchange?
I think that's an equal exchange, especially if both parties' needs are being met. But now, if one person's needs were not being met, now we might be onto something.
Hey, can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Now I'm just having some. I can't see you guys for some reason, but I can hear you guys clearly. Okay. So I'm just trying to figure this.
Stevie Wonder in it, huh?
We can see you.
Yeah. I just can't see you guys. But I don't know. I'm trying to fix it. But I'm just going to do this blindly.
Yeah. We wouldn't even known if you'd have said nothing.
Yeah. Did C want to say something? I thought C was waiting to.
Go ahead, C.
Yeah. Go ahead, C. Yeah, go ahead, C. Go ahead.
I don't think I. Well, no, I lost my thought. I'm sorry.
Do you agree with or
Yeah.
disagree with any
Oh
of the
no,
points we made?
oh no, I remember now what you had said about if I was 22 years old. Um, I can agree with you, but at the same time, I feel like I was kind of naive and vulnerable at that age. Now that I'm 37 years old, I see it differently, and I have a 16-year-old daughter, so I couldn't imagine her like as an 18-year-old and some 40-year-old man coming, like right away. My guards would be up, and I would really, want to know what are your intentions with my baby, So that's the
Would
way I
his
look at it.
intentions be different than a 22-year-old? He would just have more resources that she could access.
I don't like. I'm not. I wouldn't say I'm against it altogether. You know, um, Everybody has their preference, but I think it is questionable in certain situations. Just like y'all mentioned earlier, if both people are reaping their own benefits equally, then it probably balances out. But if one person is giving more or expecting for more long term, and then they end up not getting things that were promised, then I think that is probably a case of manipulation. But at the same time, each situation is different.
But real quick, Dame, you brought up a good point earlier, and I was kind of thinking about it with like Yachty, her situation. I don't really see too much issue with that. With the, the
35 and
20-year
55,
difference when you're
no
older and stuff.
problem, huh?
Yeah. But
You
I
guys
just
are
think
more
younger because, man, I think people need to go through their growth process. So I think, that's why I have the issue with it. It's just like, man, let them like live their youth and stuff. But yeah, when you get older, I just think everybody we lumped up in the same category. I'm in my 40s now. I'm like, man, we got one foot in the grave. Damn it, we all after 40 it's just like one age.
I was gonna say, hearing those different ages, it just sounds more like eye-opening. If you hear a 18-year-old with a what was the age you used, 40-year-old, and then you have a 50-year-old with a 35-year-old, 55 and 35, you guys are mentally, you've done
Yeah.
your shit. You've learned your lessons, you went through life, you're experienced up, you know what I mean? But as an 18-year-old, it's like you're barely touching the water. Like you barely got your feet wet. Your khakis ain't even rolled up yet. You know what I mean? So I feel like
But is it shaming? I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I know. For me, I would feel weird. Well, I don't have any daughters, but if I had a daughter when she was 22, I'm 44. I would feel really weird having a son-in-law the same age as me.
Yeah.
Like,
I like I said, I got a
why?
13-year-old daughter, and she's starting to like boys, and boys starting to like her, and stuff like that. When she got to the age of 18, what have you, if a 40-year-old guy came, I'd be super skeptical.
yeah.
But
Because
if a 26-year-old guy came to it and she's 18, I'd be super skeptical. It's just like it's just I
If an
know.
18-year-old came to see an 18-year-old,
Yeah.
she got to go.
17-year-old came when she was 18.
But it is, yeah, because like, and I think this was to your point with C before. I mean, they're like, yes, all guys want the same thing, sort of thing. But a 22-year-old guy with a 22-year-old girl probably is much more likely to actually be looking to like build a life together, actually get to know somebody, because you have things it's more likely that he values her personality because they're the same age and they probably are actually like having things that overlap personality wise than if you have that sort of age gap with someone so young who hasn't really lived too much life yet. It probably is much more physical. It probably is much more transactional. And I think that's kind of the point of like dating in community and dating with family around, dating with church members around, people like that. My dad has all daughters and I don't envy him at all. I constantly heard from him growing up, like things to be wary about with guys, lines that guys will try to use. Don't get manipulated by XYZ. We can only, stave off so much manipulation ourselves, especially when we're young, but it's kind of your responsibility to be running that by trusted people who've seen more than you have. Ideally older women, like don't date on an island. I also think to Yadi's point earlier, like there is a lot of bitterness once women hit a certain age, and that varies. I think 30 like feels significant to women for sure. But I think Yadi's, I don't want to call it a strategy, but like what you've ended up with is a really good example of like, you're a younger woman to somebody. if you're upset that 30-year-old men don't want to date you as a 30-year-old woman, go date a 35-year-old man. Go date a 40-year-old man. Like, it's okay. You are hot and young compared to somebody. It's fine to just like, you can play that game too if that's what you're upset about. And I don't mean to like mean
about that
anybody.
hot young stuff. When you start hitting a certain age, you just got
Stop it.
you got to give that up.
Yeah, I mean,
hot,
but genuinely, I mean, a 40-year-old man is probably much more. He's thrilled to have a 30-year-old woman compared to somebody his own age.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And
Absolutely.
I
Like
don't
I said,
know. I don't think
I have
there's
this
anything wrong with that.
I have this one female friend who is an attractive, I think she's 44, and she dates younger. I'm like, why do you waste your time? It's like, there's a 55-year-old
Train
guy
show.
out there who's just going to think you are phenomenal, because these guys think you're just good enough to smash because you're still 44 and they're like 28, 29, 30. I'm just like, but as far as building something with you, that's realistically not in the car. But that 55-year-old guy who's like gonna be lucky, feels like he's lucky as hell to grab you because you're still attractive, you know, and he's probably going through all the stuff of like having kids and all this kind of stuff like that, because she got 2 kids. I'm like, I think you need to really put yourself in a situation to have the best outcome long term. And I think that's what a lot of people kind of look past and what have you.
Okay, no worries. Thank you so much. Shout out to the panel. Great discussion. Shout out to Phil. Thank you so much for jumping on as a live guest. Let me just read some super chats real quick before we move on to the next controversial topic that's related to what we're discussing. But my quick input real quick to the discussion was, you know, I just the biggest response a lot of women would use against men dating younger women, it's it's a lack of maturity, right? You're like, you want to date women, who are younger because they're less mature and easier to be manipulated, easier to be controlled, easier to be controlled. And I think for me, and this is gender neutral, your age doesn't determine your maturity. That's my observation in life.
Mm-hmm.
Man or woman. I've met a lot of older women, 30s, 40s, extremely immature. And I've met women who are young, extremely more mature than the young, and vice versa. So this whole concept that just because you're younger, that makes you less mature, and just because you're older, that makes you more mature. Maturity has nothing to do with age. And I think you just, you know, if you're 18, you're an adult, we have to let people make their own decisions of who they want to date, and take responsibility and accountability who they choose to date. If you want to date somebody that's older, that's younger, that's your prerogative, go ahead and do it. But I think I just don't agree with the argument that just because of a specific age you're more it can be more easy to be able to be more manipulated and controlled. Because what I see online when it comes to age, that has nothing to do with your maturity. But let me just read some super chats real quick, and then we'll move on to the next topic. Okay. Damn! Shout out to you guys on the live chat. You guys are doing a great job. So much. We're almost about to hit 150 on the live stream, so appreciate it. I do think thank you so much.
I do want to say real quick before you do that, Ali,
Yeah,
I need you on my live so that Crash can hit me up with all the super chats too. So I go live on Tuesdays. So next Tuesday,
the super chats are Jack. He's an OG.
That Drizzle Jack.
You want him on your chat? It's been a little.
I just want to say one thing.
Questionable. No,
Royalty, I know right now at your age, you could manipulate the hell out of a 44-year-old hedge fund geek.
for sure.
You can manipulate them in socks. So it can go both ways.
Yeah,
Don't just put it on the men.
No.
Yeah,
and I was also going to say, I think we should tone down with this manipulation word. I think I kind of
There you go.
Emphasize that, but more or less not manipulate, but younger women with older men, you're more likely to get the outcome that you desire. There we go. Boom. Not manipulation, but you know, if you have this fantasy in your mind, it'll more likely be fulfilled by someone of younger age.
Okay. All right.
There we go.
No worries. Thank you so much. But let's just read the super chats real quick. Broke Dusty once said $10 super chat. Why do men date younger? Is a brain dead question. Women are smarter, more mature, more monogamous at any adult age. Men would rather choose an equally as wise younger chick. Is that manipulation? All right. Let me just read this real quick. So Allie, when can I move in? I got my black trash bag ready. I got potential. So in about 10 to 15 years, I'll be slightly more rich. Don't give up on.
He said black trash bag.
Crying.
All right. Ali just no response. Okay. All right. Milagros. Shout out to Milagros. Thank you for the super chat. I have a 15-year age gap. I wish I would have met him at 18. Oh, okay. All right. Thank you so much, Milagros. Dusty again. Sorry for those who don't know. I'm broke, Dusty, and looking for a provider woman. Drizzle, Ali. That might not be you now, but I believe in you. Okay.
Is that like the men's version of sprinkle?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yep.
Yes, it is.
Drizzle.
If
Okay.
you're broke, quit spending money for all this.
Jack is balling. Don't let it fool you. Do not believe what he said.
bad
Jack is
with
a
money.
baller. Jack got money.
He got money. Dusty, as always, protect Ali at all costs. She, my favorite panelist so far, a good sport, and she makes logical points. That being said, Jasmine, how you doing? What up, Jasmine?
Yeah, read the other one. He said he just.
The next one.
Wait.
Yes, I'm choosing sue me. I can't do that. All women can win speech. I'm broke and partially ADHD. I can't be split between investing in every woman. Okay. Jasmine, did you want to respond to his shot?
No.
All right. If your daughter is dumb at 18, that seems like a bad parenting issue. There are plenty of young women from good families who are being manipulated. Okay. Man, I value Allie's beauty. Will she exchange my presence for ability to protect and provide for me? Drizzle. I'm very good at something, maybe. Okay. Okay. Okay, I'm chill. This is getting borderline creepy. Even for me, I'm weirded out even reading this. I'm just letting you guys know. I'm getting the vibes, bro, the creepy vibes reading this. But I'm just a messenger. Okay, shout out to Allie. Don't call HR. These were the sincere yearnings of a Dusty man. Shout out to you, Dusty. Thank you so much for always supporting the channel. Ladies, don't be afraid to reach down and scoop up a young, virile, attractive couch surfer who can't keep a job and is uneducated. Bum lives matter. The last one, thank you, No, Harrison. I will not stand for you manipulating Allie's ability to attract simps. Allie is a strong, independent woman. You good right here. All right. Shout out, man. Shout out to you.
He just funded the whole show.
All right. Thank you so much. Appreciate you, Jack. Always appreciate your feedback. But yeah, shout out to everybody on live chat. We have a great stream so far. We have a great panel, great perspective, great discussion. Thank you so much for jumping on for the live stream. But I do want to the next topic I want to discuss is a controversial topic I see online. I want to ask the panel real quick. Do you guys, when it comes to your preferred long-term committed relationship, whether it's a marriage or just long-term commitment, do you guys prefer to have to be in a relationship where there's a role, like the man plays a role and the woman plays a role? Ladies, I'll start with you, ladies, real quick. Do you guys believe in gender roles when it comes to a long-term committed relationship? Allie?
I do. And I don't think that that's as much of a preference as like kind of falling in line with our natural order.
Okay.
I think sometimes people get weird with it and it gets a little fetishy at certain points, especially like on the section of Twitter that I get into. I mean, people turn it into something more than it is, but I do think that gender roles are important, and you shouldn't really have to like try too hard. It shouldn't feel like putting on an act. But you know, the men are from Mars, women are from Venus. We're complementary, but we're not the same. And we can be equal in worth without being identical.
Okay, no worries. Thank you, Allie. I'll pass it to you, Jasmine. Do you prefer a gender role dynamic relationship, a long-term and for marriage, Jasmine?
I would say yes, I do prefer. But I also think that this day and age, like people are allowed and they should do what works for them. You know, like for example, if you believe that only women should cook, the woman should cook dinner. Say she just got in late from like a long day's work, like, you know, you should be able to switch things up too. It doesn't have to just be like strictly like we have to stick to this because you're the woman. You have to wash the clothes, feed the baby. You know, like you should be allowed to switch things up and do what works for your relationship.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. Pass it to you, Royalty. Gender roles, yes, no.
I would say yes. I love that you said that, Jasmine. Like, you know, you gotta pick up the slack, but then I also feel like I'm kind of in the middle, but I feel like 100% yes on the gender roles because I shouldn't be questioning who's paying for dinner or who's cooking dinner or who's fixing the house. It shouldn't be like up for debate who's gonna do what they're supposed to do.
Yeah. All right. Who's gonna die when the Titanic goes down, right?
You know what I mean? As a man, you should be protecting me. Okay.
All right. C, gender roles, yes or no? In a relationship, long-term committed relationship.
Sorry. Yes. But I'm a person that I can do a lot of things on my own, but I feel like if I'm in the presence of strength, I shouldn't have to.
Go.
Yeah. All right. No worries.
But I think it's a blessing at the same time because if something happens and he can't, well, then I know how. So, and I will, and I don't mind. But if I shouldn't have to, you know. So.
Okay. No worries. And I'll pass it to you, Yadi.
Yes, I do agree.
You do agree? Okay. All right. No worries. All right. So let me just play this clip real quick. There was this woman that she made a video real quick talking about gender roles, and I think we're gonna react to it real quick. But just the first minute, she had a whole 5-minute video, but I'm not gonna watch the full thing. Just the first minute, and then I'll pass it back to you guys because it's one of the preferences I think for a lot of guys, especially if you're looking for a more traditional relationship that's based on gender roles. There's a lot of preferences for both the men and women. There's a lot of women saying they want a more traditional type of relationship. There's a lot of men saying we want a more traditional type of relationship, but there's also another demographic of women who are more progressive, and they're saying that traditional roles, we shouldn't have roles based on our sex, we shouldn't have roles based on our biology. That's oppressive, that's suppressing women, that's limiting women of what they can do. There should be an equal partnership, 50-50 equal partnership, which is not based on gender. So let me just play this clip real quick. Let me know what you guys think as you guys are reacting to the video. Then I'll come back to the panel, and you guys can give me your take of what do you guys think? Okay. So let me play the clip real quick. So this is the clip I saw.
How like these traditional men cannot comprehend what an equal partnership is. Like I was talking with someone in a live, it was a back and forth. He's like, well, the man has some level of authority over you. I'm like, no, my husband has no authority or control over me whatsoever. We are equal partners. And he was like, oh, but men and women aren't equal. I don't think a lot of you men who think this way understand what an equal partnership is. Take, for instance, you have two men who decide to live together as roommates. Both of you will have different strengths in different areas. For example, you may be good at the dishes, he may be good at taking out the trash, you may be good at sweeping, he may be good at mopping, etc. Or you do the things that you would prefer to do over the other person, and the other person does the things that he prefers to do over you. Now, do you view each other based off of strength when it comes to deciding what decisions to make in your household as roommates? No. Like, just because somebody can overpower somebody physically does not mean that they hold any level of authority over them. That is called being power trippy and wanting to control someone. When women say that they want to be equal partners, okay, they are not saying that I can physically control you. Like, this man was so baffled at the fact that I said I have power over myself and my decisions. He was so baffled that did not mean that I have control over my man.
All right, so that was just a small snippet of the whole video. But we know we live in a time where I do see there's a lot of 50-50 women throwing that word or that buzzword 50-50. I'm sorry, 50-50 equal partnership. There's no roles. I don't want my man to have control over my decisions. I don't want my man to have any authority of what I can, what I cannot do. There's no such thing as a leader. We both make the decisions, and I can do whatever I want. But we're in a committed relationship, and I don't adhere to any of his standards. So it's an interesting take. I think I'm interested to hear what you guys have to say. But I'll start with you, Ali, because I know it's getting late for you, and I know you wanna drop off. So let me hear your feedback, and then you can kind of close for everybody, and then we'll continue on the show with you guys. But I just want to say so far to the panel, man, this is one of the great shows so far. We're doing a great job so far. Shout out to you guys on the panel. Everybody on the live streams enjoying it. But I'll pass it to you, Ali. Ali, what do you think about the preference? There's a lot of men out there saying, you know what, I want a more traditional type relationship. There's women out there saying, I want a more traditional type of relationship where there's roles. We have to abide by each other's responsibility and accountability to each other's obligations and duties towards each other. And what's your reaction to that?
I don't think that a lot of the people talking about this, like having authority over someone, beating the woman down, etc., I don't think that has anything to do with tradition. One lie that I think that sort of this manosphere and like radical feminism both buy into is that the past was like really horrible for women, or that in the past women just got beaten down by their husbands. I think like a lot of fourth wave feminists view that as a bad thing, and they're like, oh, this was horrible. I think a lot of the manosphere is like, yeah, that was great, let's go back to it. It wasn't real. I mean, talk to your great grandparents. I think that the actual concept of biblical submission gets taken way out of context. The best metaphor I've ever heard for it is like, you don't have two people driving a car. If you have two people and four hands on the steering wheel, things aren't going to go that well. That doesn't mean that the co-pilot who's holding the map isn't saying, hey, I think you're going the wrong way, or like, don't miss that exit. It doesn't mean that she doesn't get to speak up, or that she doesn't get to weigh in, or that he doesn't go, hey, I have no clue where I'm going, tell me where to go. It means that at the end of the day, one person's calling the shots, and you're not like splitting a household apart because you couldn't decide who had like final say. It's a final say, it's not the first say. Along with that, I think that we kind of have a weird idea of what we've just pretty recently decided are male and female chores. I think it's totally fine to just split them the way that you'd prefer to. I think women tend to like cooking better. I think men tend to be really great at trash. I only say that because I hate doing the trash, so I'm completely just opining here. But I don't know. I think that having like traditional gender roles has very little to do with having physical force over someone. That is super weird. Or having authority over them as though you're like, yes, you are leading. Yes, you are a leader of a family. But leaders aren't just beating other people down. That's called having a slave. And I think that's unfortunately what a lot of men see as attractive in the idea of traditional roles. And it's not what traditional roles should be at all. It's wives, submit to your husbands, and husbands, love your wives as Christ loved the church. Love your wives as you love your own bodies. That's a much higher thing than a lot of people give it credit for. It's not just I can beat you.
Okay. Yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate that, Ali. I do agree. I think when I see online, there's always a big focus on the failed and the worst examples of failed relationships, but nobody wants to talk about the good, positive relationships and happy, fulfilling relationships. But thank you so much for bringing up that point. Let me just keep it moving with the ladies, and I'll come to the fellas. Start with you, Jasmine. Jasmine, what's your reaction to that clip? Equal partnership. There's a lot of men out there and women as well. They prefer traditional roles. That women, you play a role, the man plays a role. You're on mute. You're on mute, Jasmine.
Oh wait, can you actually come back to me while I get my thoughts together?
That's all good. Thank you so much, Jasmine. I'll pass it to you. C, what do you think about traditional relationships versus more based on gender roles? You have a problem with that? Are you good with that?
I think that it's a beautiful thing when a man knows that he's a leader. And I think it's even more beautiful when a woman knows that he's the leader. It doesn't mean that anyone is in more control. It to me, it sets a flow in the relationship. Like we may equally discuss something behind closed doors, but he's going to be the voice that maybe, present the discussion outside or whatever. And no credit is, taken more from either person, but it's just about the flow in your home. A house divided cannot stand. So if we have a system that works for us and we are, in sync with one another, like listening to that clip, I don't know, she just kind of gives me vibes of someone that would probably, be kind of talking over her, you know, husband or man or partner, and kind of you want to represent your partner well, and making them not making them look weak, but making sure that you're representing them well. And so I don't think it's like a dominant thing or me versus you. It's just that I have I'm gifted in a different area, and being submissive doesn't mean that I'm dominated. I can motivate and encourage, and I'm have just as much effect and in the building of the household, building of the home. So
Okay, fair enough. Thank you so much, C. Appreciate that. I'll pass it to you, Royalty. Royalty, what do you think about relationship with gender roles? Do you agree with that or you disagree?
I agree 100%. I didn't like how she said 50-50, just because I feel like in a relationship, it's 100-100. Like, due to the gender roles, I'll fully be 100% of me as a woman, submit, feminine, you know, doing all those nurturing things. And as a man, you'll 100% be that, the provider, the protector, all of that. And I don't know, when she says listening to her husband or whatever, it just brings me to the idea of like my friends when they're being treated well and their man's providing. They're like, he told me to go home. I'm on my way. Like, you know what I mean? When a man is doing what they need to be doing, a woman wants to listen and a woman wants to follow the lead. So I don't feel like it's more or less I have no say, but I would love to listen to him because he makes everything that I want come true, if that makes sense.
All right. All right, Royalty, thank you so much. I'll pass it to you, Yadi. Yadi, what do you think about gender roles, having roles in a relationship? Go ahead, Yadi.
Well, I'm traditional myself. I do believe men should have certain roles. I don't think they should be stuck, right? Like, I don't like cooking. He loves cooking, so he does the cooking part. But he's still the man of the house. I still submit, but I also have like my own voice, my own, he leads, but I'm still authentic in myself. And I think that's what triggers most women with the word submit and with the word of leadership and traditional roles, that they lose who they are or that they're not in control of themselves, like that lady was saying in the video, right? Like, oh, he doesn't have a say over me, or, I'm still my own person, or, super hostile. That's not exactly how it works. So I guess once you can find the balance of trusting who you're with to lead you in the direction that you want to go, then it's a lot easier to allow that role to just come through naturally. But I think the fear has most of the younger generations so afraid of, I don't know what, control. I just don't understand it. But a lot of them don't want to. It's like, oh, I don't need a man for this, or I can do it all by myself, or he's going to listen to what I say, and I just don't see how that long-term wise creates happiness in their home.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, ladies. Thank you for the take. Let me just pass around to the fellas, and then I'll come back to you, Jasmine. All right. I'll start with you, Harrison, Family Values. What do you think about gender roles, and also the women out there saying, you know what, I don't want to have a specific role. We're equals. I don't need a man to give me I don't need a man to have authority over me to tell me what to do.
I think it's all very convenient, and that's from both sides, where people want the other to fulfill their gender role, and not so much them looking to fulfill their own. So, and there's expectations, yeah, but when it comes to this, it's all about a matter of convenience and trying to have somebody else do what they feel is their gender role for them, instead of looking to go into it thinking, okay, I'm going to be the best husband I can be. What does that mean? I'm going to be the protector, provider, priest of my home. So let me do that the best of my ability. And whether or not she's fulfilling her gender role, that's my role, and vice versa. I am, and I want to be the best wife I can be. And what does that look like as a gender role, and then fulfill that as well? I think today people have been weaponizing it. You have men who will quote the Bible and say they want their women to be submissive because of, God wants that, but they have zero aspects of what a woman should be submissive to. Right? You brought up the scripture in Ephesians, Ali, and that's a very good example of the responsibility that the husband has, which will allow the woman to be submissive in that area. So we weaponize it. So I think people, use it to get over on somebody else. But I think that it's a beautiful thing when it's done with genuine intentions. If a husband's looking to be the best protector, provider, priest for his wife and family, right, then that's a good thing. And if a wife is looking to be the best wife, and as that analogy with the car, be that aspect in the relationship that helps supports the family, that's a good thing also. I support gender roles in that aspect. I just think that in a lot of cases, it's a matter of convenience. Some women want the man to be the protector, provider, not necessarily priest, provide for me, but don't lead me. All right, I got that all on my own. All right, don't expect me to cook, don't expect me to do dishes, but you still better bring in the money, right? And guys have that same, I'm not doing anything for no gold digger, but she better be cooking me dinner every night. Best argument I saw was this, and it was comical. Anthony Mackie, he played the Falcon in the Avengers. All right, so he was on the Wendy Williams show, and they had that discussion about gender roles, and he said, "Make Daddy a sandwich."
Daddy a sandwich.
And she got a little sideways with it, and she said, "Do you expect me, if a guy is talking to you sideways at the club, what do you want me to do? Punch him in the face, right? Knock him, punch him in the mouth, right? If I don't open up the door for you, what are you gonna tell me to do? Open up the door." He was like, "You better believe it." He said, "So make Daddy a sandwich, right? If I'm out there mowing the lawn, right, bring Daddy some lemonade, right? It's all reciprocal, right?" So he was saying, bring Daddy some lemonade, and he wasn't like making the emphasis on what the woman should be doing. He's saying, if I'm doing this, right, let's reciprocate.
Yeah.
Right. No, I don't expect you to go out and mow the lawn. I got that. I'll lovingly do that. But it's hot out there. Why can't you bring me some lemonade? I'm doing this for the house, right? You want a nice manicured lawn? I got you. But I'm thirsty. Bring me some lemonade. There's nothing wrong with the gender roles.
All right. Thank you so much. Always dropping some wisdom. Thank you so much, Harrison family.
Appreciate it.
I'll pass it to you, Jerk. What do you think?
I'm gonna head off now.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
all right.
Thank you so much.
All right, Harrison, take it easy, man.
Thank you
I'm
so
gonna
much.
drop
Harrison.
at the same time.
Appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for jumping on for tonight.
All right.
Peace
Do
out.
this again.
All right. So that's Jerk. I'll pass it to you, Jerk. What do you think?
Well, I think I think you need to analyze your house and put the structure that fits for you and your partner. But for me, do I believe in gender roles? Hell no. And the reason why is I believe in adulthood and efficiency. And the reason why I explain it like that is because literally I was talking to my wife the other day, like a couple weeks ago, and then I was like, you know what? Let me do everything in the house because I just want to time everything to see how time consuming this stuff is. It only took me like under 3 hours to do everything. So it's not a lot of stuff to do with all the efficiencies now. Man, like in our house, we break stuff apart. And then when we do that, it's just like, we help each other out. So it's not a ton of stuff really to do we just operate efficiency. I'll knock something out, since I hit the gym a lot and I train, I just do my own laundry. So, it take me like 20 minutes tops, so we eat out a lot and stuff. I got a guy that cuts the grass. So like I told my wife when we got together, I'm like, look, if we win, we can outsource a lot of this stuff and we can chill, like enjoy life. So, that was the approach I took. Works out perfect for us. You know, I'm still the leader in this dynamic. You know, I know it baffles some guys' minds sometimes because I'm like, man, you guys would do it like a 50-50. How are you still the leader? It's because I got us to excel to a certain point and we bought back our time. So now we don't have to do all this like hard shit on a daily basis. You know, we just kind of hang out and chill. So I think if you like do stuff differently sometimes, you could, you know, you don't have to worry about like all the roles too much. It would just flow if you just like kind of focus on efficiency sometimes versus like, okay, you need to do this, you need to do that. And yeah, just make life easy for yourself sometimes.
All right, fair enough. All right, thank you so much, Jerk. All right, Damien, I'll pass it to you. What do you think, Damien?
Hey, you know me, I'm all for gender roles or what have you. I guess you would call it neo-traditional because you know, I think you guys are familiar with my situation. I'm all about paying all the hard bills, 100% of the hard bills I pay. That's just, there's no discussion, there's no question about it. Anything that's a consistent bill on a regular schedule, I'm paying it. That's what it is. And I do that not because I'm trying to have any kind of authority over my wife or anything like that. I didn't do that for that reason. It's just the fact that it's just a discipline of mine. It's just how I feel like I get value out of making sure the things that my family need are provided for. Not that the 50-50 is not, you can have that. All I'm saying is just like, it's just something in me. I didn't grow up that way. I didn't see my dad doing that. I saw he was absolutely the head of the household, but that's just something that was in me. Luckily, I got with a woman who had a similar mindset. It was one of the things where she actually had a really good job on a really good trajectory. She had 2 degrees or what have you like that. But she told me when we got together, you know, I would love to be a stay-at-home mom when we start having kids. So we both worked. And then as soon as she got pregnant, I was like, okay, I make a promise to you. You won't have to, until the kids are like 10, 11 years old, you won't have to work. You won't have to pay bills. All that stuff will be taken care of. That's going to be my job, because your job is going to provide the optimum nurturing situation for my kids, you know, and make sure that they're okay. Make sure that they're in line with the values that we put. They're growing up in line with the values that we've developed in our relationship. And that worked out. You know, it was like she stayed home for almost 11 years, a little over 10 years. And then our kids are off in school and stuff like that. And then the opportunity came for her to go back into the workforce. And she was making money. I didn't think it was going to blow up like it is, but it is. She's making good money. But that dynamic didn't change to me. Now I'm just like, okay, now if you want to like buy extra stuff or you want to plan a trip or something like that, that's fine. But I just find the value in the hard bills being played by me. And she still, even if she works, she don't work as much as I do, but it's just one of those things is like, she still, the roles haven't changed, because that's one of the discussions that we had was like, okay, you know, one of the things I don't want to sacrifice is the things that's been working for 10 years. If you find no value in it, or if you feel like it's something you can't rock anymore, we need to have a different discussion. But, you know, she still cooks. She does like, I'm pretty particular, so I probably do like 30% of the cleaning. I'll take the garbage out. You know, I made the joke earlier that like my wife gets super happy when I empty the dishwasher, you know, that kind of stuff like that. It's just like there's certain things I do just because out of consideration, and I see that she's tired and she's show I appreciate her. But yeah, I'm all for like traditional roles. It's I think it kind of, that ambiguity, I'm just not all about that. Like, hey, you know, what if you don't agree on something? Like, I think, you know, shout out to Uncle Jeff. He said he perfectly encapsulated the way I try to run my household and the way it is. Like, my wife's word is, she gets the first say in everything, but I get the final say. And that's just the way it is, because and I didn't not say that just because I'm a man. I think that because I've earned that right with a history of good decision-making skills, and I was able to put her in a position that she wanted to be positioned. And if she respects that enough to say, okay, you know, I have a voice to say whatever I want, and we can discuss it, what have you. But I trust that his decision-making skills, so he can get the final word. So that's kind of how my house works.
All right. Thank you so much, Damien. Appreciate it. I'll pass it to you, Phil. Phil, thank you for jumping on as a guest. But Phil, what do you think about the gender roles?
Yeah, man, I definitely agree with them. I have to default always to the Bible, right? That's just what I live by. That's what I have to align myself with, whether I like it or not. Um, and you know, it was mentioned earlier, but I'll just, quickly, if I can, just read it. These two verses, that Ephesians 5:22. That what's the name? Kelly,
Allie.
Allie. Touched on them, but yeah. So it says, Ephesians 5:22. Wives, well, actually, we're gonna go to 21. Submit yourselves one to another in the fear of God. Right. So it's saying both need to submit to each other. All right. Then it says, wives, submit yourselves unto your own husbands as unto the Lord. So, you know, um, Abraham, Sarah called him Lord, right? Well, you're not probably going to get that today. A lot of females calling their husbands Lord or whatnot. But I think that there is a dynamic that the Lord set up and it works because I use the example all the time. If I, my son, my daughter, I say, okay, if I had a daughter, now I only have a son. Actually, his birthday's today too. He's asleep, but happy birthday, son. So, see my son, I'm not going to tell him go wash the dishes. Daughter, go chop that wood. Can they both do it? Yeah, he can definitely wash the dishes. She can definitely chop the wood. But I think in a way that's efficient. If I'm running a business, if I'm running a household, I want to get the best efficiency out of even my children, myself, my wife. And with that efficiency, he would be more efficient chopping the wood, right? And she would be more efficient washing the dishes. I don't know if y'all got little boys, have sons, too many. Some of us probably, I'm sure some of us do, but they don't wash the dish worth too well. Let's keep it real. My son, I'm always like, son, what's this? But anyway, and then another example of that real quick is the Amish. I think when we peel back the layers of society, when I look at the Amish, they demonstrate what it would look like if we didn't have the modern day enmities to kind of dilute our thinking and our objectivity to these discussions. If it just works, and they're very efficient in the way that they have things working. The Amish really just they do their thing. So that's my point of view.
All right. Thank you so much, Phil. And I'll pass it to Jasmine, and I'll come back to the panel if you guys want to respond to each other. But to Jasmine, I know you have some time to think about it. What do you think about the gender roles? Oh, you're on mute. You're on mute, Jasmine.
I keep doing that. I think that gender roles are important to a certain extent. Like for me, when I said I do believe in gender roles, I was thinking specifically on when it comes to like decision making. I do think that ultimately the man in the relationship should have like the ultimate say so, only because, and that's if you believe like, hopefully you're with the guy that, wants the best for you. And if you have a family, your children, but just being a woman, it's nice to know that you have this man you can depend on, and you know that, okay, when he makes the ultimate decision, he's making it in like for the greater good, not in a selfish way. And it just makes sense that way. And it's odd when you're just out and about and you see it the other way around, where you see the woman is in charge and the man is just like tagging along, like almost like a puppy dog, almost like, dang, you're letting her tell you what to do. It just looks weird to me. And then even the way I grew up, even going in my own life or going to friends' houses, like that's just the way it was too. Like you go ask, they go ask their mom something, and she's like, go ask your dad, because he's the one that's gonna make the ultimate decision. So yeah, for me, it just makes sense that way. Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much, Jasmine. Let me just read this super chat real quick from Chavis Greenard. When the roles are biblical, it runs smoothly. Yes, we are a team, yet the man's the leader. Women aren't dumb, but a masculine, respectful man as the head is great for marriage and for children. What do you guys think? You guys will respond to that. Agree, disagree?
100% agree.
100%.
Okay.
Definitely.
All right, real quick. So I know for the sake of time, I just want to throw some controversial topics to you guys real quick, because I know we have to conclude real soon. I just want you guys to respond because these are the things I wrote it down, but these are the things I saw that was like the most controversial when it came to between the men and women, what they're discussing, whether they agree or disagree. But I do understand it is an important need and preference in the relationship. So I already know what this answer is, but let me ask the panel. I got to ask the panel real quick. Is having a consistent sex life important in a long-term relationship?
Hell yeah.
For sure.
That's critical.
Yes.
I feel like that kind of goes into the sexual attraction.
Yeah.
Like when we first started, like you can't, like you're not even gonna get there on somebody that you don't find attractive. So it's
Okay.
not gonna work.
All right. So Jasmine, you agree?
Yeah, I definitely agree.
Okay.
Also, like, you have time for like a quick little.
Yeah. So I just want to ask you guys real quick. I saw this on Twitter. I'll post it real quick, but I just want to ask you guys because I saw it was a conversation. I just want to throw some topics to you guys to see what your response is, and you guys just let me know what you guys think. Is it the woman's obligation and duty to her man to give him
sex?
Yes.
Wait, say.
Yes.
So, and let me preface it by this. We're not talking about the weak men. I'm not talking about the men who are irresponsible. We're talking about men who have put in the body of work and are consistent, have proven to you that they're worthy to be a husband, they're worthy to be a leader, that's worthy of your submission. We're talking about those types of men. All right. So if you come across that type of man that's willing to give you a family, that's willing to provide and protect for you, all right. When you meet that type of man, you go in a relationship with him, and he marries you, and you guys are committed towards each other. Is it as a woman, is it your duty and your responsibility to give him sex when he wants it?
I feel like to a certain extent, for sure.
Maybe I just don't like the word.
It's gonna happen. But
See, you mess it up with that when he wants it thing. See, that's where they go. You're gonna lose them with
I
that.
think that if a guy is doing everything he's supposed to do,
Oh, see, you about to say something. What you gonna say? See,
I was just gonna say, like, if he has a heart for you, he has compassion for you, he's not going to, and he knows like you're just drained or he's gonna be able to read you and know you're having a rough day.
Of course.
And so I think you can trust, if you're in that type of situation, you can trust and say, yes, I will whenever he wants it, because I trust enough that he knows me, that he would not forcefully put me in an obligation where he knows it's just, I can't, or I don't have it in me, or it's not going to be, that we're not going to show up the way we normally show up. There's that, it's a trust. It's like, I trust that he knows me and we know one another. And I would also know if he just absolutely needs it, we're going to have to come to a compromise, But
you give him the rollover in the morning, huh?
I gotta give C some pushback though. You better drink this Red Bull and get ready. No, I was like,
you better go on and take this rollover morning rollover.
Okay, Jasmine, you want to say something? You said about the word choices. What were you saying?
Oh yeah, I guess I was stuck on how I wanted to answer it because the word choice. I don't know that.
What word did I say that they had a problem with?
What would you say?
Whenever he wants it or something like that.
He said that it's your duty. Like I'm like.
You don't think it's your duty to give him sex? If he's fulfilling if he is fulfilling all the duties, expectations that you want him as a man to do you think it's fair for you to, because we all know, let's be honest on this panel, ladies, you guys know we want sex. Like, we're men. We want sex. All right.
Doing all that, then you should, like, as a woman, like, you're gonna want him too. Like, it makes you want the guy more, I believe. So if you don't want to give it to him, then you got the question, like, okay, do you even want to be with him? Like, do you not like him? Like, then that kind of comes into play. But yeah,
That's why I prefaced it like this is like the man, like the good man. We're talking about the good man here. We're talking about the man that's fulfilling his obligation. He's loving you. He's respecting you. He's treating you right. He's doing all the things that he's supposed to do as a man. Do you think it's your duty as a woman to give him that type of man sex?
Yeah, awesome.
I feel like
And
the way
can I
you're
flip it real
saying
quick?
it's just so bad. Like,
Hold on a
it's
second.
like,
All right,
it's
I'm gonna flip it
not
on you.
well.
Is it his duty to give you sex when you want it?
It's not his duty, but hopefully with what we have going on, it's bound to happen. But the duty, like, no, you're not obligated to fuck me. Like, not like that.
So when you want the sex, it's not, you don't look at him any less or any different if he's like, baby, I just can't do it. I can't.
I'm not gonna
give
look
it
at
to
him
you
different.
tonight.
Like
Yeah, leave me alone. It's not my
That's
duty.
cap. That's cap. That is cap. You capping. That's that 22-year-old cap right now.
Mhm. She'll leave
You
as
gotta
a.
be patient because if I would love it vice versa. If I'm like, I'm really not, you feel me? I would hate for the man to be like, come on, like, you know, I like this one time, just real quick, a little quick, like, bruh. Now you getting on my nerves.
No, I'm telling you. All right, let's see. Would you look at your man a little bit different if you wanted sex? And it's like, I just can't. My lower back is killing me. You know.
Would I look at him and be like,
you said what?
I think I still think it goes back to what I said. Like, you know,
Mhm.
we're going to
You'll
be
know.
compassionate to one another, and he should be able to know, like, okay, she just really, you know, need what she need right now, you know, just like I would be, you know. And I think that, you know, there's that compromise because you have a heart for one another. I think it makes the world of a difference when you know a person has a heart for you. They have compassion for you, for your needs, as well as like your weaknesses or your rough day, you know. So that's what I think.
Okay. And Yadi, I know I'll have to get your feedback. Yadi, you think it's like I said, I have to preface it because a lot of women say, well, I'm not talking about the undesirable man. I'm talking about the toxic man. I'm talking about the man that cheats on you. I'm talking about the good men, respectable men. The men are doing the work. The men are doing the responsibilities. I'm talking about those types of men. So if you come across those types of men, do you think it's your duty as a wife to give him sex?
Yes. And I will say, like, I think it's your duty no matter what, even if you're feeling it or not, and to show up in your best effort or be in the present moment. Because just like it's his duty to provide and protect you, I mean, he doesn't get days off, right? Or he doesn't not do it on one day. I think it goes hand in hand. You're taking care of his needs, like he's taking care of yours.
Protect Yachty.
Yachty said no days off, ladies. No days off.
Seriously.
That's what
And I'm glad she said that before I said, you know, because I was waiting to hear that so I can just say, you know, she said it was said the way that I would have said it, because that's exactly the same way that I feel.
Jasmine, go ahead, Jasmine. I see you
I
want
would
to
like
say
to add something because I'm real, like, you know, I had to look up, okay, what is the exact, like, you know, what are the synonyms for a duty? And in there it is commitment. So yeah, I agree now fully, because when you're in a relationship, you are committed to that person to give them their needs as well as like, and to meet yours. So if one of their needs is like they need sex now, it's like you do have to, you know.
That was a good save though, Jasmine. I like how you looked up the word and you changed.
Well, I like to be,
Because you was about to be in a dark house because that dude was gonna cut all the electricity off. Like, oh, okay, you don't want to do your duty. Well, here goes my duty. Click.
And that's crazy.
I'm having trouble with the word duty. Exactly, like, you know. So yeah, I agree.
Okay.
If a man has that animosity to do that crazy shit that you just said, that's not love. Love is
It's not.
patient, it's kind, love is understanding. You could see it. Like, you could tell if somebody's like, I don't want to do it because I'm not feeling you, or like, I don't want to do it like I really feel, like how C was saying, like, you know, compassion. Yeah. So I feel like I'm gonna get there. Like, I love you and I love when we do it, because if we're together, then that's like like sexual attraction. Like, hopefully that's something that you like. I enjoy. That's another aspect of our relationship. It shouldn't feel like a duty. It shouldn't feel like a job. Like, this is something, like, you know.
Because I think too, even if
go ahead, see.
Like if you share a friendship with that person and y'all know one another and y'all both have that heart for each other. It could be a situation where y'all both tired, like we both agreeing that, we don't need all the foreplay or whatever that goes in. And we just both agree that we just going to get this done and go to sleep because we want to, but we both tired. Maybe we were out, at a wedding and we danced all night, but so we agree that we both want this, but we don't want to be up for an hour or 2 hours or whatever, so I think it's
Spoken
just
like a mature woman in a mature relationship. That's what I'm saying. That's exactly right. All this romantic and we in it, and it is sometimes it's like, oh, you got a need, all right, I got a need, all right, it's sometimes it's gonna be that.
Scratch my itch. Hey, and another example I would like to give is like going to the gym. Sometimes you just don't want to do it. To me, fellas, I always promote going to the gym. You just don't feel like it. But usually when you get there and you get to sweating, you're like, all right, I'm glad that I came. No
pun intended.
Yeah.
All pun intended.
Nah, no worries. But man, we're almost at 198. We almost got 200 live viewers right now. Man, shout out to you guys. Man, you guys
tell two friends to jump on so Will can get over 200. Call 2 friends and say, jump on the live.
I just need 2 more people. I just need 2 more people to jump on.
You got 2 friends.
I know there's somebody. I know there's a hater right now watching the video but hasn't clicked on it because they don't want to be seen on the.
There you
go. But thank you so much. And just the last topic before we conclude, because it was something that was mentioned on this video, where the one that I played for you guys, and you guys were we saw that girl talk about the equal partnership. You guys, like I said, I have to preface it again. I'm talking about the good men, the men who are respectable, have earned that submission for you guys. Do you think that men who are going to be leaders, they have to have some type of authority in their life to set the boundaries of what's acceptable, what's not acceptable in the relationship? Do you guys agree with that? I want to ask the women real quick because one of the things that she said that men have no authority, but I think when we had I think one of the conversations that's oftentimes that's had, like if you want a man to be a leader, that comes with a certain responsibility that he has to be. If you're trusting him to lead the relationship, then you're trusting him to make decisions. Then he has to have the authority because that's part of the role of being a leader. You have to have authority in order to take care of the people you're responsible for. How can I lead an individual? How can I lead a group if I can't give that person directions to follow if they're trusting me to lead? The same thing, you guys. If you go to work, and I'm sure some of you guys have been in leadership positions, being a manager, that's part of the responsibility of being a leader. You have to be able to give directions because they've given you the authority to make the decisions, to be able to perform in the best way possible, to be efficient. So I just want to ask the ladies, because I know that for a lot of women, they don't like that word authority, because I know we live in a very independent women society. I'm an independent woman. I don't need no man to tell me what to do. But if you're with that type of man, do you think that man should have some authority to be able to tell you what's acceptable, what's not acceptable? I'll start with you, Jasmine. What do you think?
I think so, yes. Only because everyone has like standards, right, of what you will accept in a relationship. And say you get with a guy, I'll use a quick example, and say when he first met you, you're dressing like modestly and he likes that about you. And then I don't know, maybe like you decide to throw on some like just some coochie cutters one day and it's not really appropriate, or I guess like the environment is not appropriate. I think you should listen to his input in like a circumstance like that,
Okay.
I feel like I lost my train of thought, what I was going to say after
No
that.
ass cheeks at the family picnic.
Real just for the sake of time, let me just throw some things to the ladies of things that men, it's one of their preferences in a relationship. They really care about, especially to their woman. Just let me know if you agree or disagree. A man should have some say in what you wear.
Yes or no?
Yes or no?
If you're with him, yes.
I feel like you shouldn't be dressing inappropriately, like inappropriately to the point where somebody should have to change the way that you dress. Like you shouldn't be going out in mesh outfits, showing your butt crack You know what I mean? But like if you have like a little cleavage shirt on and now he's like, oh yeah, I met you with the cleavage, I don't want it anymore. I don't know about that, because now you're changing the whole aspects of the terms that you guys got together on.
Okay. All right. See, Yadi, what do you think? What do you guys think?
It's kind of. Oh, am I on mute? Okay. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I don't know. To me, it sounded like I was on mute. I guess if you're with a man that is healthy and you know that he's not toxic and he would never try to, make you feel something, whether if he's giving you, it's coming from a good place, like maybe like okay, we're going to such and such, and like I know you got that other dress that you just look bad in, and I think you should wear that one. It's more like he wants you to look your very best, and maybe, so to me that's like a positive. But if it's like he's trying to make you feel bad about you and it's not for a good so I guess it just depends on, but if you trust him and you trust his opinion, then I don't see anything wrong with him. I mean, at the end of the day, it's your final choice what you're gonna do, but I think he can have a say.
Okay, no worries. But yeah, we gotta, for the sake of time, I just want to conclude so that way we conclude on time. But shout out to everybody. We hit 200 live viewers tonight. Man, thank you so much. Shout out to Ali. Shout out to Harrison Family Values. Shout out to everybody on this panel. Phil, Damien, thank you for jumping on as a guest. Jerk, Royalty, C, Jasmine, thank you so much. We had a great show to you guys. Thank you so much. Shout out to everybody that's watching, everybody who supported in the live chat. And thank you so much to everybody who dropped the super chat, especially Dusty. I do appreciate you for always dropping a super chat. But I do appreciate you guys for seeing value in the content. We had a great show tonight. And I want to pass it back to the panel. Great show. Man, shout out to you guys. I got to give a shout out to the panel. And thank you so much. We had a great show, great topic, great discussion. We agreed on a lot of things. We disagreed on a lot of things, but thank you for the open discussion and having this conversation. So I'll pass it back to you guys. What's your final thoughts and takeaways from tonight's conversation, and how can they find you? All right, so let me start with the newest guest, Jasmine. All right, it is your duty to give me your feedback on tonight's conversation, and how can they find you? Go ahead, Jasmine.
I really enjoyed it. I think all the things we discussed, like the topics as far as like men having control over your authority, or not control, authority, and like, being like the leader, all those things are okay as long as they're in good what's the word, like in good taste, as long as it's not coming from a negative. Yeah. And then you can find me on, I guess, Instagram. I'm starting to post more. I'm trying. At Jasmine Alvali.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Jasmine. And Gas Mask, I did see you backstage. I saw you. It was good to see your face. So now I know what you look like. Okay. So, but Gas Mask, but next time, Gas Mask, when you jump on, I'll add you on. We're about to conclude. But thank you so much, Gas Mask. Do appreciate you coming through. I'll pass it to you, C. C, thank you for jumping on. Final thoughts, and how can they find you?
Really enjoyed being on. Thank you. It was an honor just to hear different thoughts. I love to talk and I love to hear the opinion of others. I could be found mainly on TikTok, Power Love Sound Mind 86.
All right. Thank you so much, C. Appreciate it. I'll pass it to you, Royalty. Royalty, final thoughts. Thank you. Good to see you again. Always good to see you. Okay. Final thoughts, and how can they find you, Royalty?
It was great being here again, and the conversation, it was great. I love hearing the different perspectives. As I get older, hopefully, it'll settle in soon enough. But you can find me on Instagram at LUL Baby Royalty.
All right, Royalty, always good to see you. Appreciate you and your perspective on the stream. Yadi, thank you so much, and thank you for the extra person that jumped on there. Hit that 200. Thank you so much, Yadi. But Yadi, always good to have you back. Always good to have you on the pod. Final thoughts. And like David said, we must protect Yadi. Tell him, Yadi, no days off to all these women out there. No days off. I don't want to hear the excuses.
Thank you to everybody. I really enjoyed it. I really appreciate any time I get to be on your podcast, Will. So thank you for the opportunity. I am old school, but not due to like a biblical aspect. It's just something that resonates with me, and it's not something that I grew up with myself. And you can find me on Instagram, Soul Sorceress _HTX.
All right. Thank you so much. All right. If I meet somebody who has excuses, Yadi, I'm just gonna throw them your way. Go talk to Yadi. She'll set you straight. Thank you so much, Yadi. But pass it to the fellas. Fellas, always good to have you guys on as always. Jerk, I'll start with you. Thank you for jumping on and being on the main panel. Final thoughts and how can they find you, Jerk?
All right, man. You can find me on the Manic Sophistication channel. You know, do a lot of reviews and stuff on there. We talk a lot of shit. So tune in. You know, you can also catch us here on Thursdays. You know, we have the masculine mindset. So women, y'all can pull up, ask us questions, you know, have conversations with us. Dame's on there, also on his show. So now, great conversation. One thing I'll just say to everybody is this, you know, get with your partner and or your significant other, whatever terminology you want to use. And just make sure y'all find a structure in your household, man, that fits both of y'all. You know, listen to everybody, man. There's great people that got different perspectives and stuff. You know, maybe you can merge in different ideas from everybody else. So yeah, just keep your ears open, listen to people, and, you know, make sure you implement that in your house. And guys, you know, leadership is not always about like total control of everything. You're supposed to get with somebody that emulates your values and stuff, so you don't have to micromanage that person. And I think that's one of the conversations we probably have to have down the line, Will, where it's like good versus bad leadership. Because I think a lot of times people do fixate on control too much. And if you have to control somebody too much, then that's a good indicator. You probably selected the wrong person for the wrong reasons. So I'll drop it with that. Great conversation, Will.
No worries.
I got my brother Dame back.
No worries, Jerk. And pass it to you, Dame. Dame, final thoughts. Always good to have you on the pod.
Yeah, it's always good to be here, man. This was a great show. It's good to see new faces, what have you. And Yadi, like I said, we're gonna protect you at all costs. I really resonated with a lot of the topics that we were talking about. You know, I like it when it gets into like those role conversations, because I think people have an skewed vision of what that actually means. I think for women, they feel like it means subjugation, and for men, they feel like it means sovereignty. No, both of you are signing up for a life of service, a service to the relationship, service to the family. And I think those are the people who are successful when they realize, I'm not here to rule, I'm here to serve, or I'm not here to be a slave. I'm here to serve the relationship to make sure that it flourishes and grows and it's beneficial to the entire family. But yeah, if anybody want to rock out with me, I missed the last two because I've been traveling, but I do have a show every Tuesday at 9 p.m. Central called Can I Get Some Podcast? And that's my IG, Can I Get Some Podcast? And I'm probably going to follow all you guys pretty shortly and maybe invite you to my channel because you guys were dope. Yeah, that's how you can get a hold of me.
All right. Thank you so much, Damien. Shout out to the pod. Can I get some podcast? I had to include clips trying to do what you do, Damien. So I was like, okay.
It's good. I like it.
Yeah, I was like, you know, Damien doing this thing.
Takes the pressure off, don't it?
Yeah. Takes the pressure off. So like I said, we're learning from each other, man. So thank you so much.
I appreciate you, man.
All right, Phil, as always, thank you for jumping on. Final thoughts, Phil.
Indeed. Shout out, to everyone. Good to be back up here with you there, Jerk. First time with Damon. That's what's up, man. Honor being back up here with y'all fellas. Ladies, always cool conversation. Appreciate y'all perspectives. So I would say definitely just pay attention to certain life lessons that a lot of times we can learn without feeling defensive. I think a lot of times we don't absorb information or receive it because our innate response or knee-jerk reaction is to internalize it without, you know, wanting to, you know, see what is being said. Let me dissect. Let me think about it. Let me chew on it a little bit, right? Let me kind of just figure out what's really being said. And I think a lot of times with that, we'll be able to kind of see different perspectives and then, you know, take it in, you know, better. So yeah, so just, you know, allow yourself to do that. And not, if your thought tells you, hey, I'm going to the extreme, my first thought is the extreme, try to cancel that thought right there, right? Because generally it's going to lead you in the wrong direction, you know. Benefit of the doubt all the time, right? So other than that, you all can catch me on my social medias, Gmail, all of this the same handle. My Bone to Bones, BONETOBONE, BTB, which is abbreviations thereafter, all different social medias.
Okay. All right, Phil. Thank you so much. Thank you for jumping on. But ladies, fellas, great show, great panel. We had a great show tonight in Allie, Harrison Family Values. Thank you so much for adding it. But we do this every single Wednesday. Make sure you smash the like, subscribe button real quick. We had 200 live viewers from different platforms watching the show tonight. They're still, and you guys are still watching right now, the entire stream. So I do appreciate you guys watching. And I got to give a call out the Ninja Watchers. Not a lot of you guys are Ninja watching right now. So I hope some point you guys have seen value in the content. Come out to participate in the live chat and smash that button. So next week we have a new topic, new panel, but we had definitely a great panel. One of the best shows I've had so far this year. But you guys, everybody, you guys have a good night. Peace, y'all. Peace.